Who say that again? Oh, this is different.
Hello? Is this Chase Daddy?
Here now again. I could sink in the end. Who say that again? I remain with the stains. Two colors of love, baby. It's not easy to be scared. Two bottles of wine, babies. It's so easy to be fair.
Baby, I can't drink my wine slow. Remember my shit just like Pronto. Dilly yourself on my combo. Run through them churches like Scantron. Damn, what I'm sipping is damn strong. Cody, my missus, I feel warm. Drug up this is man, I'm feeling low. Mucho grosso, papi, dica, bro. Please don't make me cash a send this nigga. Oh no, fucking with my babysitter. Baby coming out this middle finger. I just wanna fuck no sentimentals. Black a rocker, oops, I crash your rental. Pause a shadow, so I play the middle. Run some grabbers, someone play the fiddle. Got my partners with him, someone bring up gamble. Summer's coming from the east. Call out my mama, she's coming for me. All the problems is coming, but I got my Fialis commas. I run through it, I got receipts. Watch a nigga swim the sea. Rent a condo for the weekend. Sleeping promise, I hate dream. Sleeping promise, where my lead. Yeah, you know you took my soul away.
Alright, man. Alright, man. Let's get it. Oh, yeah. What's good? What's poppin' stream? What's good? How we doing? How we doing tonight? I hope it's not too dark in here. I hope it's not too dark. Hope you guys can hear me. Hope everything's good. What's poppin', chat? How we doing? How we doing? Where are my noties? Says the very first person in chat. That's crazy. Shouts to you being first in chat with no noties. That's insane. That's insane. Holy smokes. Shouts to you. And yeah, noties, not a thing, but that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We'll get through it. We'll be streaming for a bit, and people will just come on. They'll come on in. You know those ones? Josiah, what's good? Matthew, Kristen. Oh, is it gonna be an ad? Are they gonna play me an ad? Oh, they're not. I like that. I like that. But yeah, Kristen, what's good? Josiah, what's poppin'? Imran, Ramon. Shouts to the first few people that popped up. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for being here and being here so fast. I love that. Thank you. Thanks for pulling up so fast. So yeah, tonight in Valet, what's good? Andy, what's up? But yeah, so tonight, watch some scary movies, man. Or not movies, but some scary stuff. And I'm very excited because a couple of these I haven't seen actually. So I remember falling asleep at night and waking up in the middle of the night seeing you stream Fortnite. That's funny. I got a lot of comments about that kind of stuff like back in the day. I don't know what kind of I don't know. I was tapping into some absolute insane algorithms back then. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know how, but yeah, people were just getting my videos after like Mr. Beast videos and stuff. But yeah, man. Scary videos tonight? Yeah, I'm excited. Do this for a little bit. Appreciate that, Matthew. Thank you. Real Driz, what's up? Yeah, you see the mustache vibes. You see it. Switch it up with the left, you know? Alright, so I'm gonna get started right away, to be honest with you. And when people pull up, they can get acquainted, they can pull up a chair or whatever. But for now, we're gonna get it popping. We're gonna get started. So here's the thing. I'm gonna show you guys. Well, actually no. For the first video, I'm just gonna start. But then like once a few more people are here, I'll probably show you guys the list that I just got. Like I just made up a little list. And it's just my watch later list. So I just put a bunch of videos in there, and I'll get you guys to like, you guys can decide. Chat can decide which video you want to peep. But for now, I'm gonna just get it started. But yeah, click that like button as you come to the stream. Thank you, please and thank you. Matt, what's good? Appreciate you coming through though. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, you're a legend. You're a legend, thank you so much. All right, so let me pause this music. Pause that. And yeah, scary vibes tonight. Yeah. Oh, I think I already saw. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, so I actually wasn't gonna start with this. I just saw this just now randomly. I wasn't gonna start with that though, at all. I was not. I just like that's. I would watch this, but this might be a little too. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go to over on this side. Watch later. All right, man. I might start with this one. Top 20 movie shoots. Oh, let me oops. I'll put this over here. I wish my chat was over here. I don't want it to be here. Let me can I pop this chat out? I think I can. Yeah, right here. Pop out the chat. Pop out chat. Beautiful. There, that's perfect. That's perfect. Cool. All right, so now it's right on the side, so I don't have to look all the way over. Let me put this here. All right, my bad, y'all. I'm just getting that set up. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful setup. Beautiful setup. Stream! What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Just get this pop-out chat. Make it a little skinnier, thinner, whatever. And maybe I'll make this a little smaller. I just need to be able to see myself when I look over here, but also see chat. So I'm just setting that up. Just setting that up. All right. We super good. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Bucks or Suns? Suns. This should be fun. It's gonna be fun for sure. For sure. I'm gonna need you guys to tell me though, like, about audio and stuff when I get started, because for some reason I have to crank the audio so high on this when I'm watching these things. So we'll see. But yeah, click that like button as you guys come to the stream. Thank you. Thanks for all the love, support. Appreciate it. All right, let's go, baby. So I saw this. This kind of was interesting to me. I might click this one just to start. This was very interesting to me. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Benjamin Button, the movie. I don't know. We need a tier list, like a live one, a live tier list. Yeah, we could do that for sure one of these days. I don't want to put the mic here in front of my face, but yeah, I might start with that. It's not scary, obviously, but just for, you know, just a little something. Might start with that one. But yeah, these are a bunch of ones that I'm ready for. Starting at this one. not the popping, not how to pop your back. Starting at the one right after. That's when these are the ones that I got ready for tonight. Not this car one, but yeah. Yeah, I just exposed myself. How to pop. Yo. Anyways, okay. Top 10. No, I don't know why I said that. This I just watched this. This is a crazy story. This is a crazy story. The story of Katy Perry's ex. This is a wild. He's got a list. Oh yeah, I got a list. Yeah, I got a list. I got ready right before I started streaming. I just like, because last time I did this, I was like looking as I go and like going in the recommended and scrolling and trying to figure it out, which is fine. But I'm like, you know, let me just get it ready, you know. So let's start just like normal. Like we're gonna start soft, you know. I'm gonna start with this little quick 10-minute video because I'm kind of just curious about this. It's not scary or anything, but Benjamin Button, I was just scrolling and I just saw it. I'm like, yo, Benjamin Button is like story of some dude who aged backwards, apparently. Like he was a baby, but as he got older, he was getting younger. Like he was getting younger. I don't even know. It's as his age went higher, he got older, or no, younger. I think I don't even understand. Like the older he got, I don't understand how it went. But anyways, so apparently it's a real story, and I watch this all the time, infographic show. So I know they're gonna do it nice. They have nice animations and stuff, so we're gonna get popping.
All right, so for this edition of the
start with that, you know, something light, something very, very light. You never heard of that? Huh? You never heard of that? Okay, wait. Before I start this, please type 1 in the chat if you have heard of Benjamin Button. Like if you know what Benjamin Button is, type 1 in chat, because I'm curious now. I feel like everyone already heard about that. Like but maybe not. At Stasia, what's up? How are you? Autumn, what's good? What happened in the Katy Perry one? It's this guy who at some point dated Katy Perry, and he just had a crazy not really his whole life was crazy. He just had a crazy he was in a bunch of shows and movies too. He was in the OC. He was in The Walking Dead, I believe, or something else like that. Not The Walking Dead, maybe The Walking Dead. I don't know, some other show, but he was in the OC for sure, and like a bunch of other little movies. He had little roles, and this guy tweaked. I just watched it, so we're gonna watch that one 100%. But I just want to start off with something light, like I said. Brian, what's good? See you on the cook-offs? You see me? I'm going crazy. Yeah, we filming. Heard the name? What's good, Anubis? Trying to get you to come to London, Ontario. Oh, damn. I don't remember. Been watching an HBO documentary on Heaven's Gate cult. Oh, really? Heaven's Gate cult. Oh, wow. Might have to look that up. All right. Like I said, get started with some light stuff. Then we're going to get into the scary stuff. But
quiet summer's evening in 2012.
Let me know if the volume is good,
suburban house
or if it can be louder.
UK
I can make it louder.
Was filled with the unmistakable. In 2012, on a quiet summer's evening in 2012, a typical suburban house in Hull, UK, was filled with the unmistakable sounds of two brothers arguing loudly over a board game. But this was no typical family with normal squabbling kids. Brothers Matthew and Michael Clark were living through a second childhood, even though they were 42 and 39 years old at the time of this particular argument. The crazy true story of brothers aging backwards is almost too strange to believe. The Clark brothers enjoyed a thoroughly normal first childhood growing up in a suburban neighborhood in Hull, UK. Both of the boys did well in school, and they spent many happy days with their parents playing board games, watching cartoons, and enjoying a carefree childhood. As the boys entered adulthood, they seemed to be on the path to having perfectly normal, happy adult lives too. Michael joined the Royal Air Force at age 20, and Matthew was offered spots in both Agricultural College and the Royal Navy. The young men grew up, moved away from home, fell in love, and eventually got married. Michael became a stepfather to his new wife's children.
No worries, Rami. Thank you for coming, man. I hope you've been doing all right, man. Had a fun, yeah, for sure. I did. Thank you for coming in, man. You're a real one. You're really a real one. I can feel
perfect. Both brothers ended up getting divorced just a few years into their marriages, but the Clark brothers seemed to be leading perfectly ordinary lives well into their 30s. Things appeared to be so normal, in fact, that Michael and Matthew's parents decided it was time to pursue one of their lifelong dreams. Understandably believing that their child-rearing years were far behind them, in 2005, Tony Clark took an early retirement from his job as a prison guard, and he and his wife Christine sold their home and everything that they owned, and they prepared to move.
Okay, so I'm the worst. I'm just gonna let you guys know, I'm kind of the worst. Sometimes maybe some of you guys like this too. Sometimes when I'm watching something, I just rewind it 30 seconds because I'm like, what did they just say? I'm not following. Sometimes I'm not gonna try to not do that too many times, because I also like to sum it up. Like when we're 5 minutes deep, I'm like, all right, so this is what's happening so far. Boom, 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 boom. And I feel like I'm kind of lost. It's only a minute. It's only a minute and a half, but I'm like, I feel like you just said a lot of stuff. Two brothers, one's 42, one's 39. They were living decent lives. Okay, let's just see. Let's just go back. They got married. They're living good lives. I'm just gonna go back and lock in. All right, Melanie, what's good? Yeah, literally, Ramon. You zone out for just 2 seconds, and then it's hard to come back. All right.
Crazy true story of brothers aging backwards is almost too like a board game. But this was no typical family with normal squabbling kids. Brothers Matthew and Michael Clark were living through a second childhood, even though they were 42 and 39 years old at the time of this particular argument. The crazy true story of brothers aging backwards is almost too strange to believe. The Clark brothers enjoyed a thoroughly normal first childhood growing up in a suburban neighborhood in Hull, UK. Both of the boys did well in school, and they spent many happy days with their parents playing board games, watching cartoons, and enjoying a carefree childhood. As the boys entered adulthood, they seemed to be on the path to having perfectly normal, happy adult lives too. Michael
I'm
joined
following.
the Royal Air Force at age 20, and Matthew was offered spots in both Agricultural College and the Royal Navy. The young man grew up, moved away from home, fell in love, and eventually got married. Michael became a stepfather to his new wife's children, and Matthew went on to have a daughter of his own. Things weren't always perfect. Both brothers ended up getting divorced just a few years into their marriages.
Okay, so
but the
normal
Clark
lives
brothers
so
seemed
far.
to be
I get
leading
it.
perfectly ordinary lives
You're
well
lost.
into their
They are normal people. Like, there wasn't even anything for me to get lost on. So to help you out too, Brian, like, it's just telling the story. It's just two brothers, 39 and 42, just living life. They're in the military or whatever. One of them, normal jobs, got married, got divorced, like just regular life shit. That's just all he has said so far. That's it. Like, that's it. That's it. Cambria. Let's go. He's talking fast, eh? He is. Cambria, appreciate that 5 bomb. That's crazy. Thank you for the support. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's go. Cambria out here, yo. Let's go. Slang, what's up? Yo, chat, go crazy. Thank you, chat, also for showing love to Cambria. I really appreciate that. I love when you guys do that. I love that. And thank you, Cambria. All right, so we're all caught up. Regular family, regular brothers. They're around 40 years old.
30s. Things appear to be so normal, in fact, that Michael and Matthew's parents decided it was time to pursue one of their lifelong dreams. Understandably believing that their child-rearing years were far behind them, in 2005, Tony Clark took an early retirement from his job as a prison guard, and he and his wife Christine sold their home and everything that they owned, and they prepared to move to Spain.
Okay, so now these two brothers that are living normal lives, their parents, so their parents are like, you know what, let's just do something crazy real quick. We're old, let's do something crazy. And here we are.
They planned to enjoy a relaxing, sun-soaked everything that they owned, and they prepared to move to Spain, where they planned to enjoy a relaxing, sun-soaked retirement, complete with plenty of visits from their grown sons.
Pull it! Slaying with the 5 bomb. Let's go. We hate super chat. Wow. You legend. Yo, fun fact. Slaying A dropped the 5 bomb. That's 100% 5 bomb. Super chat 5 bombs. It's not 100%, but we love super chat and we love the other one, Streamlabs. We love them both. We love them both like they're our children, both of them. We don't love, there's good in both. Thank you so much, Slaying. You're a legend. The shade to super chat. No way. Thank you so much. You're a legend. That's crazy. Both of y'all. Thank you. Okay. Legend. Cambria, legend, Slaying. You guys are both the best. Thank you both for the 5 bombs. Supporting the stream. I love that. So much. Easy, I see you. What's good? Like the stash. Thank you.
Enjoy a relaxing, sun-soaked retirement.
Edges! The 2 bomb. Anubis. Okay, I'm gonna not pause it. But yo, thank you guys so much. Yo, I will. Heaven's Gate. I will. I'm gonna try to remember that.
From their grown sons.
What's good, Nick?
Wife Christine sold their home and everything that they owned, and they prepared to move to Spain, where they plan to enjoy a relaxing, sun-soaked retirement, complete with plenty of visits from their grown sons. Looking back at those years, Tony and Christine can now see some of the red flags that warned them that all was not as normal as it seemed. But at the time, they never in their wildest dreams could have imagined what terrible truth these warning signs were pointing to. Tony recalls the first time that he had an inkling that something might not be quite right with his sons. When the boys were in their...
What's up, Nick? So it's not scary vids yet. We're going to get into the scary ones like pretty much after this one. We're just getting kind of warming up, This isn't scary. This is like a just interesting story.
30s. They joined their parents on a holiday in Spain. As the plane barreled down the runway, picking up speed before taking off into the sky, the 2 grown men squealed with joy and yelled, "Yippee!" like a pair of kids. The 2 also squabbled like children throughout the entire trip, which Tony found rather odd, considering that Matthew was a father himself at that point. Nevertheless, he brushed it off as the boys letting off some steam and focused on preparing for their upcoming move. Unfortunately, Tony and Christine's move to Spain had coincided with their son's dramatic downward spirals. And though they couldn't see all the warning signs from abroad, they soon began to notice that something was wrong. At first, it was little things, like the boys' bizarre behavior.
Okay, so they didn't physically start going backwards in age. It was only like mentally and verbally and stuff. That's crazy. So I just took that in. So if you take in what just happened, they were on the plane, like, so their old parents moved away to Peru or wherever, Spain, I think. They moved away and they're like, great, we're old, we're gonna move away and just vibe out, and our sons will come visit us whenever. Vibes. So one trip, two of the sons with this Benjamin Button thing, we're going to visit them, and they're on the plane together, the four of them, and they're just like, yippee, like so excited, like they're grown men, 40 years old, and they're like, yippee, we're on a plane, we're so excited, like just moving like that. And I didn't take it in when he was saying it at first, but
something was wrong. At first it was little things like the boys' bizarre behavior on their trip, or the fact that it was getting harder and harder to get a hold of them on the phone. The boys used to call to talk to their parents at least once a week, and they usually texted with their father every day, but eventually Tony and Christine would go weeks without hearing from their sons. But it wasn't until they got a startling call from their granddaughter Lydia that the Clarks would learn the true extent of their son's downfalls. A few years into their Spanish retirement, Tony and Christine received a frantic call from Lydia, who told a stunned Tony and Christine that her uncle Michael had been living in a hostel. Lydia went on to explain how she had recently received a concerning call from one of the hostel workers who was worried about both her uncle and her father's bizarre symptoms, and who was asking for her father's information. By this time, things had truly fallen apart for both the Clark boys. They were both divorced, and Matthew was estranged from his daughter Lydia. Matthew had been fired from his factory job due to his strange, immature behavior, and Michael had been unemployed ever since a knee injury had prompted his discharge from the RAF. Michael had been evicted from his apartment because he had stopped taking care of himself, and his apartment
I want them to talk about it more. Talk about what it is that they were doing.
For a time, but the arrangement didn't last long. The brothers began bickering so badly that Michael eventually moved out, and he ended up spending 3 weeks sleeping out in the elements at a nearby park before he found his way to the hostel. Workers at the hostel took notice of Michael's strange behavior and his odd childlike demeanor. They arranged for him to receive medical wellness checks, and once they learned that he had a brother who was experiencing the same strange symptoms, they contacted Michael's daughter, Lydia. Doctors did an MRI and genetic testing on both brothers and discovered the shocking and heartbreaking reason for their rapid decline. Both brothers were diagnosed with terminal leukodystrophy. Their brains were slowly being destroyed, and intellectually and emotionally, the two grown men were returning to toddlerhood. Leukodystrophy is an incredibly rare and extremely devastating neurological disease that attacks the white or leukomatter of the brain and spinal cord. There's no cure for leukodystrophy, and no treatment can stop the slow and inevitable loss of brain function that results from the disease. There are over 40 known types of leukodystrophy, and most forms of the disease are inherited from parent carriers. Although for the terminal variant of the disease, there's only a 1 in 3 billion chance of two carriers meeting and having children together, making Michael and Matthew's diagnosis one of the most rare diseases in the world. While the diagnosis provided answers to the Clarks' questions and explained much of their son's strange behavior in recent years, it was devastating for the parents to learn that their boys had a degenerative terminal disease, and that there was
it's only halfway through. I was about to say, like, they haven't talked about what it is that they do.
Lydia found some small comfort in her father's diagnosis.
Too much.
For most of her life, she had believed her father's absence in her life was because he was uninterested in knowing her, and some small part of her had always wondered if that was somehow her fault.
More than Alzheimer's, because Alzheimer's, you're still the same. You just forget things, but you're an adult still. You're still a full-blown adult. You're old, whatever. But you're just forgetting things. But this is like, I don't think you're forgetting. Well, you're forgetting, but it's not forgetting. It's like, I'm a child now. Like I'm 40. No, now I'm like 30. Now I have the maturity of like a 20-year-old. Now I have the maturity of like a 18. Like 17, and then like slowly younger and younger and younger. So I wouldn't call it forget. I guess it is forgetting, but not quite Alzheimer's. I feel like maybe on the lowest of low keys. Maybe. What's good, Daniel?
Disease was a devastating blow, and even though she knew that they'd never have a typical father-daughter relationship, she was relieved to have an explanation for their estrangement and grateful to have the chance to have him in her life in some way. Upon learning of their son's diagnosis, Tony and Christine immediately dropped everything and returned to the UK, determined to do whatever they could for their sons. When they arrived at Matthew's apartment, they were appalled. They knew how bad the situation was, but it didn't truly hit them until they saw the deplorable state that their sons had been living in. As the boys' conditions worsened, they had gradually become completely unable to care for themselves. Their personal hygiene was abhorrent. and Matthew's apartment reflected this decline in a dramatic way. If he dropped something, he'd simply leave it where it fell.
Bruh.
Dirty laundry was piled up in the corners.
I wonder what age, like, I wish they would, like,
to clean the disgusting kitchen. At one point, Matthew had been sitting alone in an empty apartment for 2 weeks without food or electricity, with only a single candle for light, because he simply didn't know how to apply for social assistance. The city
Holy
council and Hall
smokes.
provided the Clarks with an accessible home for themselves and their grown sons to live together, and life gradually returned to normal for the Clark family, or what would have been normal for them 2 to 3 decades ago anyway. During what should have been their golden years of retirement, the Clarks instead found themselves caring for their sons through a second childhood. The only difference now is that the 2 toddlers they were caring for were actually 6 foot tall, nearly 200-pound grown men. When strangers heard the story of the Clark brothers, they often joked that the boys were real-life Benjamin Buttons, a nod to the F. Scott Fitzgerald character who was born as an old man and grew up into a little...
Okay, sorry. I thought they were like referring to the movie, like this happened after the movie. But apparently there's something older, like an older movie maybe, or Scott's, I don't know what Scott Fitzgerald.
Boy, but Tony and Christine always found this analogy unrealistic and rather upsetting. While the boys definitely grew intellectually and emotionally more immature by the day, their bodies were not aging in reverse. There's no return to them being cute little boys, says Christine. They're big, strong men. Other than their outward appearance, Michael and Matthew were exactly like stereotypical children. Michael was moody and childlike and couldn't be left alone for even a few minutes without him getting into something.
Benjamin Button movie,
he was a non-stop talker with a childlike lack of impulse control, always saying whatever came to his mind. They were incredibly affectionate, especially with each other, often hugging each other and cuddling while watching their favorite cartoon, The Smurfs. The boys had a fascination with model trains. And just like when they were growing up, the boys loved playing board games. These games would frequently devolve into meltdowns and violent temper tantrums, which were all the more frightening for their parents coming from 2 fully grown men. There's nothing we can do to help, said Christine.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely powerless. Christine found herself reliving her child-rearing years some 2 decades after her sons had left their first childhood behind. She found herself exhausted
about to do the absolute opposite thing.
Up at night with children. Sometimes as many as 7 times in one night. She was worn out from the nightly
Is my mic too loud, by the way, y'all? Is it too loud? I see it hitting the red marker. Kind of shook.
2 moody
Let me know if my mic's like a little too
denied that they were tired, even as their eyelids drooped and they struggled to stay awake. She was frustrated from trying to feed 2 increasingly picky eaters, and she constantly faced curious and even hostile.
That's crazy. Okay, to be honest, I get it. That's pretty crazy. Okay, I want to watch the scary stuff now. Let's get it, baby. Let's get it. That is honestly crazy though. All right. What are we thinking? I kind of wanted to. Okay, yeah. I want to start with this one. I'm going to start with this one. And then after, I'll ask you guys' opinion on what we should do. So I already did watch this, but fuck it. Like, I'll watch it with you guys. There's a bunch of other videos in this playlist that I haven't seen, so it's going to be new to all of us. But this one is just too crazy. It's just too crazy. And stories like this, it's like they are pretty crazy, but just crazier when you realize you could Google the person and they're a real person who was on movies and stuff. Like, that makes it so zooked. Like, when I hear some of these stories, I'm like, bro, like, I don't know. It's insane. All right. Oh, stage is up. What's up, Jalen? Audio's good. Thank you. All right. Perfect. All right, let's get it. So this is the horrifying true story of Katy Perry's ex. Bum, 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 bum. All right, let's go.
It's about a famous Hollywood actor who did something truly horrific. And surprisingly, not that many people know about it. But before we get into today's story, if you're to make the like our channel and turn the story.
Yeah, same. All the damn time. I can't believe I had to like go through the channel. Like, every time I watch a video, I click like so that I know that I've seen it. And some videos, like, also you can tell if you've seen something by like the red bar being all the way at the end. And some videos, like, they were all the way at the end, the red bar, and it wasn't liked. So it's like, I thought I really watched every single thing, but I guess sometimes I fall asleep watching it and it runs through the next episode or some shit. So some episodes look like they're watched. So I just found like 2 that I haven't actually seen, and they're in this playlist. This is not one of them, but.
Called The Secret Life of Johnny Lewis. I want to give a special shout out to Billy Jensen, who is a fantastic Secret Life of Johnny.
All right, Let's get it, baby. Yeah, great storyteller.
Johnny
Amazing.
Lewis was only 7 years old when he landed his first acting role. Granted, it was only a bit part in an obscure escalator safety video, but it was a start. From there, Johnny appeared in dozens of commercials, including with Pizza Hut, before someone recognized this kid has real talent, and he earned appearances on the hit TV shows Seventh Heaven, Malcolm in the Middle, and Drake and Josh, which were really big in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Just remember these titles.
In 2001, when Johnny was 18 years old, he had made enough money from acting that he was able to leave his parents' home in North Los Angeles and move into a new home right in Hollywood with a bunch of other up-and-coming actors and actresses. By 2006, when Johnny was 23 years old, he was riding high. He had landed several more big TV roles,
Robert.
like a recurring role in the show The OC, which was very popular in the 2000s.
The OC.
And in 2006, he was dating the mega pop star Katy Perry. And although their romance was relatively short, apparently it was very intense because Katy would go on to write 2 songs that were apparently about Johnny. But Johnny's real rise to stardom occurred 2 years later in 2008 when he was cast as the character Half Sack on the critically acclaimed motorcycle drama Sons of Anarchy.
That's
While
it.
the
That's
show
the one.
made him famous and fabulously
Sons of
wealthy,
Anarchy.
Johnny was growing concerned with the direction the show was taking. He felt like it was becoming too violent. Johnny liked reading poetry and studying philosophy and staying up late drinking tea and playing chess. He did not like acting out scenes of gratuitous violence. It just wasn't who he was. So after being on the show for 2 seasons very successfully, he was a very popular character. He went to the writers and said, "You got to write me out of the script. I can't do this anymore." The writers were totally caught off guard and begged him to stay, but he had made up his mind, and so in 2009, his character was killed off. After leaving Sons of Anarchy, Johnny decided that he wasn't going to pursue any serious acting roles for the time being. Instead, he wanted to focus his time on writing his first novel, which was about this musical genius trying to make his way in the world. And so he started asking around to see if anybody he knew of a quiet place he could live and write out of. And his photographer said, "I think I know the place." It was called the Writer's Villa, and it was this beautiful house with 6 bedrooms for rent right outside of Hollywood. Over the years, it had become a sort of safe haven for up-and-coming actors and actresses still looking to land their big break. The reason it developed this reputation was because of the owner, Kathy Davis. She was this wonderful woman who really understood how difficult trying to break into Hollywood was for all these people that stayed at her house. And so she would look after them and make them food and offer them rides, and she would stay up late and listen to their frustrations and be a shoulder to cry on if they didn't get the part they want.
Okay, to catch everyone up real quick, because even if people just strolled in right now, so this young actor, he was in Malcolm in the Middle. He was in, I forget all the ones they said at the beginning, like 3 big shows, like Drake and Josh, Malcolm in the Middle, and something else, Seventh Heaven. All right, so he was coming up. Started with that, then he dated Katy Perry, then he was on The OC, then he was on Sons of Anarchy. Huge shows. All of these are huge shows. Yeah, you know, he can tell a story very well. It's crazy. So he's on a bunch of huge shows, this guy, right? And then he was doing amazing on Sons of Anarchy, and then he had to he left the show because it was too violent. Cool. These are true stories. Yes, this is a true ass story. True story. This is a real person. These are real TV shows. You know these shows, these titles. Sons of Anarchy, come on. Anyways, so he's like, it's too violent, and he's like, I don't want to be on the show anymore. Like, you could Google this guy's name. I don't want to be on the show anymore. So he left the show that was doing amazingly well, and he was a big character in the show. He just left it. And then he like kind of started this like started from the bottom kind of vibe where he went to live in like a halfway, like a house with a bunch of other, you know, up and coming, struggling type actors type vibe. And there was like a caretaker lady who like took care of them and made them food and talked to them and just hung out with them. So that's where he's at right now. He was riding high, dated Katy, did all this crazy stuff, and then he's just like, you know what, I'm over. And then started from the bottom and left everything. And now he's in this home with a bunch of other random actors in LA. All right, trying to like make it. And he's trying to write a book. Now he's trying to be a writer. He doesn't want to be doing the acting stuff anymore. Something like that. Anyways, that's where we are right now.
Many of her tenants who went on to be big Hollywood stars.
Yeah, sorry. This lady owns the house. She owns the house that all these people come in. And they just stay for months or years, however long it takes to get off their feet, whatever. Boom.
would later attribute their success, at least in part, to the time they spent with Kathy at the villa, which they remembered as being therapeutic and soothing. Even though Johnny had already had his big break in The Sons of Anarchy, he loved the idea of living in such a peaceful place that seemed to cater to eccentric artists like himself. So in April of 2009, Johnny called Kathy and requested a room, and she said, absolutely, you can stay on the second floor in the Red Suite. After moving in, Johnny would tell his friends that the writer's villa was just as amazing as he thought it was going to be. And Kathy specifically was just as wonderful as everyone said she was. He actually struck up a friendship with her almost immediately. Everything seemed to be going really well for Johnny in his life until
Kayaking Tuesday, paddleboarding Wednesday,
Get your money.
mountain
Get your money,
biking
G.
Thursday.
Kill you.
Do you think they're overloaded?
A few months later, he found out his girlfriend, Diane, was pregnant. Although this totally screwed up his plans for his novel, Johnny was really excited about being a father, and so he decided to move out of the villa and in with Diane, who lived nearby, to help take care of their child. 9 months later, on April 6th, 2010, Diane gave birth to a healthy little girl named Culla May, and Johnny and Diane fell madly in love with her. But unfortunately, Johnny and Diane's love for each other faded quickly after becoming parents, and before long, Johnny had moved out and back in with his parents. Not long after that, Johnny and Diane became embroiled in this really vicious, long custody battle over Culla May, which ultimately Johnny lost, which was devastating for him. A few months later, in October of 2011, when Johnny was still living with his parents, he decided to take his motorcycle out and just go ride around and clear his head. And so he drove for about 2 hours to the west of LA out into the desert, where he lost control of his bike and he crashed. After getting to the hospital, his injuries were determined to be relatively minor, except they were concerned he might have a head injury. However, after testing negative for a concussion, he was said to be okay by doctors and he was sent home. But when he got home from the hospital, he was not okay. He was a totally different person. Johnny's father, Michael, immediately noticed the change in his son's behavior. He just started acting really weird and erratic, and his thoughts weren't always coherent, and he was really agitated all the time. It was just very obvious that something was off. And it made Michael wonder, perhaps my son did get a head injury from that motorcycle accident, and the doctors just missed it. And so Michael scheduled 2 separate MRIs for Johnny to go to, but for whatever reason, Johnny refused to go. Around this time, Johnny's friends began to notice his strange behavior when in December of that year, he was at an acting class and he began speaking in a vaguely British accent. And everybody in the class noticed it, and eventually someone said, hey, why are you doing that? And Johnny was like, what? And just kind of shrugged it off and acted like he wasn't doing that. A few weeks later, on the morning of January 3rd, 2012, Johnny was at his parents' house. He was sitting in the kitchen while his mom was making omelets. And Johnny just kind of abruptly says, I'm going to go out for a walk. So he gets up, he's only got his pajamas on, no shoes on. He walks out the door, and as he's walking down the road, he gets maybe 10 or 15 feet away from his parents' house when he hears someone screaming, like they're screaming in distress. And he thinks it's coming from the apartment that was right next to his parents' house. And so he breaks into the apartment, but there's no one in the apartment. It's totally vacant. And so as he's in this apartment, wondering what's going on, the 2 men that owned the apartment, they came home and they see Johnny standing there, and they told him he had to leave immediately. And instead of leaving immediately, Johnny grabbed a nearby glass bottle and he charged at them and hit them both over the head with the bottle before they managed to restrain him and hold him down until the police showed up. Johnny claimed he was acting in self-defense, but the police didn't believe him. And so they charged him with trespassing, burglary, and assault with a deadly weapon, and they sent him.
His mom he's in the kitchen with his mom, by the way. Okay? This is after like his relationship didn't work out. He moved out of that villa. He's not in that villa anymore with all the other actors or whatever. He moved out. He had a child, and then that didn't work out. He lost the child custody, and then now he's living back with his parents. So he's back with his parents, vibing out. He's in the kitchen with his mom randomly, okay? His mom's cooking up eggs, pancakes, and he's just like, I'm going for a walk. Gets up, no shoes, walks outside. He just says, I'm going. Walks across the street, thinks he hears screaming, walks across the street into this house. There's no one there. There's no screaming. The owners of the house come home. I'm like, what are you saying in my house? He attacks them out of nowhere. And here we are.
To jail. When Johnny's father was finally able to come to the jail and bail his son out, it had been 8 days, and in those 8 days, Johnny had been moved from general population to a psych ward because he was banging his head against the inside of his cell, and at one point he had tried to jump off of a balcony, and he was just generally acting unhinged. And so when he was discharged, on his paperwork, a doctor at the jail had commented that he thought Johnny at one point must have had some sort of head injury that had made him act this way, and he was definitely suicidal. When Johnny got back to his parents' house, he was an absolute wreck. Physically, I mean, he had 2 black eyes and his face was all puffed up from the confrontation he had with those 2 men in the apartment. And emotionally, he was so distraught that he wouldn't let anyone in his family come near him. He just holed up in his room and just told everyone to stay away. He also became extremely sensitive to light, to the point where he was turning off all the lights in his parents' home, and then when they would eventually just turn them back on again, he would get agitated and turn them all off, and then finally he just disabled his parents' fuse box. But despite Johnny's obvious issues after coming home from jail, over the next few weeks, he did actually seem to be improving, to the point where at the end of January, so about a month after he came home from jail, his parents allowed him to move out and go live on his own in Santa Monica, California, about 30 minutes away. But as soon as he was living on his own, his troubles started again. On February 10th, so about a week after moving into this place in Santa Monica, he was arrested for punching some random stranger in the head outside of a yogurt shop. But he was ultimately released on 20.
The actor of the OC, by the way, this is still, remember, this is a real guy who is in a bunch of movies and shows. And it's only getting, we're not even anywhere yet in this. It gets much worse.
For punching some random stranger in the head outside of a yogurt shop, but he was ultimately released on $20,000 bail. A couple of days later, Johnny, fully clothed, just walked into the ocean, and when he was pulled out, he had to be brought to the hospital to be treated for hypothermia. A couple of days after getting out of the hospital, he was arrested again, this time for trying to break into a woman's apartment in Santa Monica. He claimed he thought it was his friend's apartment, but nobody believed him, so he was brought to jail and then released on bail again. After this second arrest in Santa Monica, Johnny's parents finally convinced him to go see a doctor about this potential head injury they thought he got from that 2011 motorcycle crash. Even though that jailhouse doc had suggested Johnny had a head injury, he had not officially diagnosed him. So Johnny needed another doctor to officially diagnose his head injury so they could begin to treat it. But the doctor Johnny wound up seeing did not suspect a head injury. Instead, he suspected schizophrenia or bipolar, which are 2 very serious mental disorders. And so he prescribed some medication to Johnny that would treat
not meds,
disorders,
please.
And Johnny was on his way. Johnny refused to take the medication and refused to go see another doctor, and so his condition just continued to get worse. Johnny was still facing serious jail time for the break-in and assault against those 2 men in the apartment next to his parents' home, and so Johnny's lawyer was trying to get a deal done where Johnny would go to a mental health treatment facility for a year instead of going to jail for a year. But Johnny was so confident these charges would just get dropped and he'd be allowed to go back to his life and live the way he wanted to, that he fired his lawyer and he represented himself in court. But the charges were not dropped and he was sentenced to 1 year in prison. However, the jail he was sent to was so overcrowded, they reduced his sentence all the way down to only 6 weeks. When Johnny's father finally came to pick him up from prison on Friday, September 21st, 2012, Johnny was at an all-time low. Even though he'd only been in jail for 6 weeks instead of the year he was supposed to be there, it was clear that amount of time had done an enormous amount of damage to him. And so on the car ride home from prison, Johnny just kind of sheepishly asked his father, hey Dad, would it be possible if you called Kathy Davis at the Writers Villa and just see if there's any way I can move back in? And Michael's thinking to himself, I hadn't thought of that, but the Writers Villa was the last place Johnny was when his life was still in order. It was probably the last place he was happy, and so he probably has attached a lot of fond memories to that place, and so that's a great place for him to go. And so as soon as they got home, Michael called Kathy Davis and explained the situation and said, is there any way he can stay there? And she said, absolutely, the Red Suite is still available. I'll go up and make the bed right now. I can't wait to see him. Johnny stayed with his parents that weekend, and then on Monday, September 24th, he packed up his stuff and he moved back into the villa. 2 days later, a 70-year-old man named Dan Blackburn, who was...
Thanks, Kaden. Yeah, you scared the shit out of me. He moved back with his parents, did a bunch of stuff, had to go to jail. On the way back from getting picked up from jail, he asked his dad, you know what, Dad? Let me see if I can go back and live in the villa with the random people, the random actors. So here we go.
And he moved back into the villa. 2 days later, a 70-year-old man named Dan Blackburn, who was actually neighbors to the writer's villa property, he was looking out his front window at this man who was standing out in the road. He only had on jeans and red shoes. He had no shirt on, and he was very sweaty, and he was just kind of frantically pacing around the road, and he had never seen this guy before, and so he's just kind of poking out behind his curtain, watching him to see what he's going to do next. And after about 15 minutes of this kind of strange pacing in the road, this guy turns and walks directly towards Dan's property, goes right up to the front step and starts knocking on the door. Dan was definitely a little bit concerned, but he shut the curtain, he walked over to the door, and he looks out the people, and there's this guy standing there with bright blue eyes that are all wide, and he's looking at the people as if he can see through and see Dan, but he can't. And so Dan reaches down and he opens the door just a little bit.
Imagine opening the door. Imagine opening the door. Y'all want to be in horror movies so damn bad. Why would you open the door? There's a guy pacing back and forth outside, no shirt, just shoes on and a pants. Pacing back and forth for 15 minutes, sweating, just pacing, walking back and forth. Then beelines it to your house. And you open the door. Why? That's a who is it, Max? I don't even give people, sometimes people like that aren't pacing back and forth across in front of my house. Sometimes I don't open the door for them. So anyway. And no one from the villa decided to monitor him? Well, I don't think anyone from the villa knew about what was going on, right? So he just asked, can I go back? He did all that shit and then went back to the villa. But I don't know if they told, I don't know if he told anybody what his life has been like for the past little bit when he wasn't in the villa. I don't know if he told anyone. Probably just moved back in.
And he looks out, and the guy outside. And so Dan reaches down and he opens the door just a little bit and he looks out, and the guy outside looks at him and goes, "Hi, I'm John. I'm your new neighbor." It would turn out John was Johnny Lewis. And so Dan opened the door a little bit farther and he looks at him and he goes, "Hi, John, nice to meet you." And before the two men could have any sort of conversation, Johnny just abruptly turned around and walked away. And so Dan is totally puzzled by this strange interaction he's just had with Johnny Lewis. And he's watching him as he just walks back to the road, he walks back over and goes inside the villa and disappears. And so Dan kind of shrugs it off, he shuts his door, locks it, and goes back to his morning routine. About 30 minutes later, Dan is doing his own thing in his house when he hears his wife outside screaming for him to come outside. And so Dan runs out the front door, he goes into his driveway, which is between his property and the writer's villa, and he sees his wife is standing on the driveway, horrified, pointing up towards the back of their house. He looks down, and back near their back deck, Johnny Lewis, is standing on top of the guy that Dan and his wife had hired that day to paint their back deck. Johnny is just raining blows down on this guy. He's got a piece of wood too that he's hitting him with, and the worker is sitting there trying to shield himself. There's blood all over him, and Dan instinctively just runs over to Johnny. Johnny's not seen Dan at this point. Dan gets right up to him and he grabs him by the shoulder and he tries pulling Johnny off. He's screaming at Johnny to stop, but Johnny just seems totally unfazed. He's just destroying this worker. And so finally, after Dan yanks on Johnny hard enough, Johnny jumps up, turns around, and levels Dan square in the face. Dan falls to the ground.
7-year-old man, by the way.
Johnny is just standing over him, looking at him with no expression on his face. It's like he didn't know what he was going to do with Dan next. So he just stood there and stared at him. But Dan wasn't going to waste any time. He jumped up and he clocked Johnny square in the side of the head, but it had no effect on Johnny. He still just stared at Dan, completely expressionless. And so Dan grabbed a nearby lawn chair and practically broke it over the head of Johnny.
For what, Destiny?
But again, it had no effect on Johnny. He just stood there completely expressionless, staring at Dan. And so at this point, Dan just grabs the worker who can barely stand, and he runs back down the driveway. He grabs his wife, and they run towards the house to go inside. And the three of them manage to get inside the house. And as they're shutting the big, heavy door, Johnny comes bounding up and he gets right in front and he jams his arm in the space between the door and the wall. So they can't close the door because it's getting stuck on his arm. And so all three of the adults inside, Dan, his wife, and the painter, are putting all of their weight on this huge wooden door onto Johnny's arm. And Johnny is just trying to grab them the whole time. And so finally, the three of them start raising the door and slamming it as hard as they can on Johnny's arm. And finally, after several hard blows to his arm, Johnny retracted his arm and they were able to shut the door and lock it. And so at this point, Dan's wife and the painter ran around the house, closing every window, locking every door. Meanwhile, Dan went to the side window that looked out towards the Writers Villa property, and he got his phone out and he called 911 as he's looking out the door looking for Johnny. And so after he tells 911 what's going on and he hangs up, Johnny suddenly just appears running down his driveway as if he's running back towards the back deck. But he stops almost right in front of Dan's window. He turns and he starts running towards the villa property. He jumps over a fence that's at least waist height, just jumps clear over it. And then he gets to this huge wooden fence that surrounded the entire villa property that was at least, 8, 9, 10 feet. And he very easily just jumps, grabs the top and catapults himself right over the top and then disappeared inside of the villa. Within minutes, the police showed up and they went inside the villa and they could not believe.
That's crazy.
Based on the evidence, this is what investigators
crazy.
believe happened. After Johnny, for the first time, walked up to Dan's property and awkwardly knocked on the door and said, "Hi, I'm John, I'm your new neighbor." After that, he turned around and Dan watched him as he left his property and made his way back and went inside the villa. Once Johnny got inside the villa, he made his way up to the second floor and he went into Kathy Davis's room where she...
Oh my God. Are we caught up? Do we understand what's going on here? And to the people saying, there's someone behind you. Stop, children. Come on. Stop, children. If you want to watch this with me, watch this with me. We're not going to do this weird. Just cut it out.
Side window.
Oh my God. You got I have a thing. Anyways, you guys are
window, locking every door.
Bro.
Meanwhile, Dan went to the side window that looked out towards the wrecked window.
Bro, I need to rewind on that.
After several hard blows to his arm, Johnny retracted his arm.
No, just stop, y'all. Please, watch this shit or don't.
Dan's wife and the painter ran around the house, closing every window, locking every door. Meanwhile, Dan went to the side window that looked out towards the Writers Villa property, and he got his phone out and he called 911 as he's looking out the door looking for Johnny. And so after he tells 911 what's going on and he hangs up, Johnny suddenly just appears running down his driveway as if he's running back towards the back deck. But he stops almost right in front of Dan's window. He turns and he starts running towards the villa property. He jumps over a fence that's at least waist height, just jumps clear over it. And then he gets to this huge wooden fence that surrounded the entire villa property that was at least, 8, 9, 10 feet. And he very easily just jumps, grabs the top and catapults himself right over the top and then disappeared inside of the villa. Within minutes, the police showed up and they went inside the villa and they could not believe what they found. Based on the evidence, this is what investigators believe happened. After Johnny, for the first time, walked up to Dan's property and awkwardly knocked on the door and said, "Hi, I'm John, I'm your new neighbor." After that, he turned around and Dan watched him as he left his property and made his way back and went inside the villa. Once Johnny got inside the villa, he made his way up to the second floor and he went into Kathy Davis's room where she was sitting. Now, Kathy most likely turned and saw Johnny standing in the doorway. He's got no shirt on, he's sweating, he looks totally crazed. She probably was not scared. Instead, her motherly instincts kicked in and she probably said, "Hey, are you okay? Can I help you? What's going on?" And as she probably stood up and made her way over to make sure he was okay, Johnny, for reasons no one understands, proceeded to beat and kick and strangle her. And then when she fell to the ground and was totally helpless, Johnny proceeded to either stomp on her skull repeatedly or he hit her over the head repeatedly with a rusty hammer that was later found in his bedroom. But no matter how Johnny did it, he managed to severely fracture her skull, and that's what ultimately killed her. After killing Kathy, Johnny tracked down her beloved cat and killed the cat the same way. Afterwards, Johnny ran out of the villa, and that's when he spotted Dan's house painter just sitting outside, and he walked over to him and just began beating him. And just like the attack on Kathy and her cat, this attack on this house painter appeared to have no motive as well. After Dan came outside and managed to fight Johnny off, and then when Dan went back inside the house with his wife and with the painter, Johnny stood outside for a few minutes before running down Dan's driveway and then hopping over those two fences right in front of Dan, and then Johnny disappeared inside of the villa. Once Johnny was in the villa, it's believed he climbed up to the upper patio or onto the roof of the villa itself, and from there he either jumped or fell to his death on the driveway below. His death was officially ruled an accident, not a suicide. After the news broke about what had happened at the Writers Villa, everybody assumed Johnny must have been on some really hardcore drugs. That's the only explanation for why someone would act the way he acted. But when his toxicology report came back, it showed he had absolutely no drugs of any kind legal or illegal in his system. He was completely sober at the time he committed this horrible crime. Some believe Johnny really did have some undiagnosed head injury from that motorcycle accident,
Bro,
and this head injury is responsible for
real
his
story.
violent outbursts. Others disagree and say the head injury had nothing to do with it. Johnny clearly had some undiagnosed mental disorder. Maybe it was schizophrenia, maybe it was bipolar, maybe it was something else, but it was this mental disorder that led to these violent outbursts. But to this day, no one knows for sure why Johnny did what he did. All we know is an innocent woman and her cat were needlessly killed. So that's going to do it, guys. If
Hollywood actor. Katy Perry dated this person. This is a real regular ass person. Malcolm in the Middle. The OC. Drake and Josh. Seventh Heaven. Sons of Anarchy. This is a person who, bro, got in a motorcycle crash, got a head injury, and then began terrorizing everything. That is insane. Johnny Lewis. Regular schmegular. Johnny Lewis, Karen. Look it up. Johnny Lewis. That is insane. Can you imagine? Knocking at your door. Knocks at the door. Knocks. I'm Johnny Lewis. Wouldn't you shit yourself right there? No, he didn't even say Lewis. He said, I'm Johnny. Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm your neighbor. And walks away. Liam, what's good? Bruh. Tweak. And yeah, the pops just put him in the crib and didn't tell them. I wonder if he told them. My guy just came out of jail, everything. Didn't tell them about that. Didn't tell them about. Crazy. I haven't seen this one. That's crazy, man. I swear. Eight most disturbing things caught on dash cam footage. Should we watch things caught on dash cam and or ring footage? Because I saw that too, like the doorbell ring thing. I saw that one. Actually, I was on that video, and that video took me to this dash cam footage one. So we can check that out in a bit. But I think I want to try this one out, because this is another whole story, and this one I haven't seen. I just hope it's like
innovation is faster
super
than ever.
rare event occurs at sea. That's an interesting title.
To the cloud.
If you were to stop this video right now and just Google the name Hannah Up, who is the focus of today's story, it would bring up a list of articles about her very strange disappearance. And all of them would start with the partial explanation for what caused all of this craziness to happen. But what I'm gonna do is basically the opposite. I'm gonna tell you the craziness of what occurred from 2008 all the way up until today, 2020. And then I'm going to reveal the partial explanation that many people believe is behind the disappearance. Not only does that make for a more compelling story, just purely from an entertainment perspective, but it also allows you, the viewer, to have an unbiased view of the events that happen, so that when I do make this reveal, you can be the judge if that is sufficient to explain away.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they're crazy. This guy, Rachel, is Mr. Ballin, Mr. B. Allen. Amazing storyteller. He takes all these stories from just their real life stories, and he just tells you the story. And half of them are like, what do you mean I've never heard this before? There's so many stories where you're like, how have I not heard about this? And he just tells them in a great way. And it's not just each video is like one story. Sometimes he puts like a few stories together. He has a bunch of different ways of how he does it. But anyways, it's just crazy. So this one, like I said, I haven't seen. Yeah, let's absolutely get started. Dash cam. That could be the move. I might do that first actually, because that's quick. Dash cam is like 8 minutes. I might do that quick before we get into this one. Sleep experiment is a creepypasta, not real. What do you mean by that? What does that mean? Sleep experiment. Yeah, let me do that one first. Let me do dash cam first, because that's scary as shit. That's horrifying. Oh, it's 11 minutes. Oh my god, oh my god. Dash cam footage. Oh my god. Okay. Wait. Do we want to do this? This is good. This actually might be scary. Yeah, I see. I know what you're talking about, but like, what do you mean by like creepypasta not real? Like, I don't know what that means. I looked up Johnny Lewis and I'm pretty sure he was on a synthetic drug when all of it went down. Okay, could be wrong. Okay, could be wrong. Check out Chills. You were check out Chills? Huh? Basically just a fictional scary story. Oh, really? Oh, cool. Are you sure about that? Like, are you sure? Because I've seen that on like 3 different channels. Infographics show too. But I don't know. Like, I'm not saying it's real, but I don't know. I've seen it like 3 different times. Russian sleep experiment. Could be fake though. Could be fake. When you type it in, I saw it on, what's it called? Info. Oh, creepy. Oh, because it was on this? Russian sleep. It was on this channel, so it's not real? So yeah, this is the one I saw. I saw this one and I saw his version. Interesting. That's kind of number 2. That's kind of interesting. Okay, I mean, damn. I mean, well, we're not watching it yet, so we'll see. You want to watch that one next? That one's pretty intense. It's like, it's about like well, apparently it's not real, but anyways, it's about like Russian scientists or something back in the day. They just wanted to conduct tests on what sleep deprivation does to the human body and mental and whatever. And like, they just did tests and like, anyways, crazy shit happened. You want to watch his version of it? I'm down after. Did I have it in this? Oh, I did have it in this. Yeah, his version is great. It's great. But to be honest, the infographics version is also very good. I'm gonna watch like 2 minutes of this, and if it's absolutely zooked, like, I'm gonna not. But if it's like, if this is nightmare shit, if this is about to be nightmare shit, I don't know.
In this first video, the dashcam footage
Why does that have to be some weird
from a truck caught the exact moment an ambush took place. The video clearly shows as multiple people alongside the highway use an improvised roadblock made of tree branches to force drivers to stop.
No!
The people responsible were multiple illegal immigrants angered by a recent demolition of a makeshift camp they had set up.
No!
As soon as the truck stopped, they would climb the guardrail and throw multiple sticks, rocks, and even lumps of concrete at the driver.
No!
Luckily, the driver would make it past the roadblock, though he would claim that in the moment he feared for his life.
Bro, I'm zooming over that. Are you kidding me?
Multiple wounds from items thrown through the windshield that would ultimately require him to seek medical attention.
I'm zooming through that. Nah, I'm zooming. I'm fucking zooming. I'm zooming. Are you kidding me? Bro, the man stopped his whip? My G. Oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy. No way. Nah.
This footage takes place at 1:30 a.m. on a Sunday, and it features dashcam footage of a car traveling along a quiet stretch of road in the country. As the car approaches an intersection, a hooded man can be seen standing with his head bowed in the middle of the road.
Nah.
As the car gets closer, the man can be seen attempting to walk in front of it, forcing the driver to stop.
Nah.
And that's when the man can be heard screaming as he lunges towards the car, which of course would force the driver to step on the gas and get out of there.
Get the fuck. Get the.
The driver claims that after the encounter, he would frantically try to call and warn his wife, who was traveling on the same road about a minute behind him. Unfortunately, he wasn't quick enough, which would cause his wife to experience the exact same encounter.
But just quick, and then she kept going?
The couple claims they were unsure of whether the man was trying to rob them, take their cars, or hurt them in some way or another.
What the f... Okay, let me know, Stu. Let me know. Let me know.
Takes place on a dark and isolated road. It starts out with nothing out of the ordinary, when, just as the car rounds a bend, an out-of-place figure wearing a suit with a briefcase and an umbrella comes into frame. And directly after, another identical man can be seen. The men would retreat into the long grass, where suddenly it's clear there are multiple men looking identical to each other. They seem to have been startled by...
I'm out. I'm fucking out, bro. Nope. Nope. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope.
Editing and adding pieces
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good, bro. I'm not watching that shit, bro. I'm not watching that shit, bro. Nope. That's good enough for me, bro. That's good enough for me. Okay, so the way he tells this one is, it's really good, but this is one of his really older ones. So the quality is not as good as usual, the other ones, but also not even the quality doesn't even matter. But more importantly, something that annoys me with these is he puts like, I think in this one he does it. He puts like weird like pictures that just are not from what the actual thing is. It's like weird pictures, and literally like it makes me want to skip over it. Like the pictures cheese me so much. Like the story is great, but the pictures he's gonna put are very, very annoying. Yeah, that's too much. Yeah, that's too much, Liam. Trust me. I that's my limit. You know, some people in the chat are probably like, nah, it's probably fine. Nah, me, I'm good. I'm good. If it gets any worse than that, I'm good. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. Not people in suits in the on the middle of the road in the middle of the night. Nah, I'm good. I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm good. All right.
Way to keep their soldiers awake. Russian scientists wanted to find a way to keep their soldiers awake longer. And so they devised this experiment, this human experiment, to test the effects of extreme sleep deprivation. And so what they did is they rounded up 5 prisoners of war and offered them their freedom if they went through this experiment, which I can tell you went sideways. And so the way it worked is they were going to be put inside of this sealed gas chamber that continuously was going to administer this stimulant gas. It was an experimental stimulant gas. This is not something they knew much about, but they were fairly confident that it wouldn't kill them and that it would keep them awake. And so they put them inside the chamber and they started administering the gas. This was not at a time where they had closed circuit cameras. Those weren't around at the time. All they had was, they could put microphones in there, and they had these 5-inch thick little porthole windows. They had one porthole window where the researchers could look into the chamber itself. So the experiment begins, and really for the first 3-4 days, everything was pretty normal. At about the day 4 mark, the researchers started to notice a change in what they were discussing, the subjects. It went from kind of small talk over those first few days to fairly dark. They started talking almost exclusively about traumatic events that had happened to them in their life. And around the day 4 mark is when the subjects started complaining about being in this test at all. The first few days was filled with some optimism.
3 days of no sleep. They were fine, really?
Terrible situation they were in. And then it really turned into, this is a terrible situation. I think it was around the day 6 mark, the subjects stopped talking to each other completely. They became paranoid of the other subjects, and they went to their own sections of the chamber. You know, and in the chamber they had places to sit. There was food, there was water, there was a bathroom, there was books in there to read. They kind of took up space inside of the chamber. They began to believe that they could kind of like sell out
like this
their,
shit. Like stop showing these pictures
in exchange for getting out of this experiment. So they would, you know, one by one come up to the porthole or go over to one of the microphones that was obviously placed inside of the chamber and start whispering these kind of
like this shit. Like don't like that's so dumb. You know what I mean? Like oh my god, stop! Get it off the screen! Get it off the screen! Get it off the screen! That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Like it's like that is not even relevant to this. And this is what I mean. This is like his earlier video. He was just doing crazy shit. Like no green screen, no cool thing in the background, just putting up these scary ass pictures. It's like, bro, don't do that. Like that's too much. Not even relevant to what he's talking about yet, at least. Ugh. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna skip. When those pictures come, I'm skipping, which is gonna suck because it's gonna miss like 6 seconds of what he's talking about, but so be it.
Experiment took a significant turn for the worst. It was the morning of the, I think it was the 10th day, where the screaming began. One of the test subjects began.
Like this one's
screaming.
whatever.
And at this point, everybody is totally like segregated. They're not talking to each other. They're muttering and whispering. And one of them just starts screaming. And so for 3 hours, they watch him scream at the top of his lungs and run back and forth across this little chamber.
Like, bro.
Until he stopped screaming, but he's still running. And they could kind of pick up on the microphone that
what's up, Tani?
He was still making sound, but it was like these little squeaks. It turned out that he had physically torn his vocal cords from screaming incessantly. The other subjects didn't react to the screaming at all. It was like it wasn't happening, but they're in this confined space, right? It's like so loud in there. And all that happened is, as he's screaming, the other subjects began ripping out pages of the book, soaking them, and then pushing them up against the porthole glass, obscuring the view. So by the time the subject who had torn his vocal cords stopped, well, by the time he tore his vocal cords and it went quiet, the researchers couldn't actually see into the chamber anymore. And once the guy had torn his vocal cords, there was no more sound in the room. So their view was obscured, and now it's gone silent.
Oh my God.
3 days of talking about what they're going to do, of complete silence in the room. Like they can't see in, they can't, it's silent. They're monitoring the oxygen levels in the room, and based on oxygen consumption in the room, apparently they could tell that there were people in there, probably at least 4 or 5, that were breathing oxygen because it was being consumed. So they believed they were alive, but after 3 days of silence, which really didn't make any sense,
3 more days.
They determined that, well, either our microphones are broken, and that's a problem, or there's something wrong with the subjects themselves. So they decide that they're going to use the intercom to reach out to the subjects and basically tell them that they're going to come into the room. Like, hey, you know, we're going to test the microphones. We're going to be coming into the chamber. You need to lay on the ground and not interact with us. If you comply, we will offer one of you immediate release and freedom. So there's silence after
Imagine
the
that.
intercom. They decide to do that. They talk to the intercom, and one of the subjects, now to this point again,
fuck. I think he says something creepy.
And one of the subjects, clear as can be, talks into the microphone and just says, "We no longer want to be freed." And so the researchers were like, okay,
he doesn't say it's something creepy.
And our microphones work, so they don't go in. They stay out of the chamber.
They said, we don't want to be free. Fuck it. Don't even open it up. Just don't even come in. Don't even come in. Jordy, what's up? They said, don't even open this shit. We don't want to be a part of it. Don't come in. We're good. And that picture was so annoying. I was about to fast forward, but I didn't want you guys to miss what he was saying. And luckily, he only put it for a couple seconds. All right.
Silence continues all the way up until the 15th day because, you know, the window's still obscured.
15 days, no sleep.
The subjects are not speaking. They're not muttering. They're not whispering. It's just silence. And on the 15th day, at midnight on the 15th day, they...
Oh, yeah, true stage are kind of the low quality makes it scary.
And so what they did is they flushed the room of the stimulant that had been continuously pouring into the room. They turned that off. and they replaced it with fresh air.
Okay, I was wondering too, like, why were they just staying awake? How were they doing it? So they're flushing a stimulant into the room to keep people awake the whole time, and then after 15 days they stopped it and they're about to go in and just see the damage, I guess.
And that's when they started hearing the screaming from the subject, replace it with fresh air. And that's when they started hearing the screaming from the subjects inside of the chamber. They were begging them, the researchers, to turn the gas back on, pleading with them, like begging, please turn it back on, as if they
give
were
me the
dying.
gas.
And then they opened the chamber, and now they're laying eyes on the chamber for the first time since like the 10th day. So it's been like 5 days. And they're seeing the chamber with their own eyes for the first time, and it's straight out of a horror scene. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive. The 5th subject, who had perished at some point, there was chunks of flesh that had been taken off of his chest and his leg.
Just don't look at the picture. Just don't look at it. Just don't look. Don't look. Just listen. Don't look. Oh, great. Ad right there. KO. When those dumbass pictures come up, literally just don't look. Just close your eyes. Just close your eyes. So dumb.
On the water in the bathroom, and it flooded the room. There was almost 4 inches of water on the ground, like murky, stagnant, like, you know, lots of gross stuff in their water all over the ground. And there's this dead subject, and all 4 of them have also, there's chunks of their own flesh that's been ripped off of their body. And it was later determined that it was self-inflicted, these chunks of meat that had been pulled off of them. And it was not by teeth either, it was by hand. And also they were eating it. So they were ripping off pieces of their body and eating it. The food storage that was down there hadn't been touched in days. It was like they had all completely lost their mind and began eating themselves. These subjects did not want to leave the chamber. They just continued to beg for the gas to be turned back on. And so finally they brought in some soldiers to actually extract the living subjects out of the chamber, but they fought so aggressively to stay there. And in fact, one of the subjects jumped up and bit the neck of one of the soldiers, and he actually bled to death. Also, one of the subjects in the struggle, his spleen ruptured and he bled to death. So now you have 2 casualties just getting them out of the room.
Just trying to go in there to get them out. Caused 2 people to die. No way. I know, right? Why do you leave it so long? What's wrong with him?
They get the 3 remaining subjects, living subjects, out of the room, and they heavily restrain them. They bring them to a medical facility because they need to go under surgery because they've had chunks of their own flesh ripped off. They're totally
addicted for sure.
And the most injured of the 3 is immediately brought into surgery, while the other 2 were just kind of held in a holding room. And they try to give him a sedative in order to prepare him for surgery. This is not the anesthetic. This is just the sedative. And it's like he's immune to it. You know, they give him the sedative, it does nothing. And he's just like resisting them, and he keeps begging to go back under the gas.
Give me the gas!
Finally, they say, okay, well, we're just going to give him the anesthetic now. And when they bring it out and they tell him, we're going to give you an anesthetic and we're going to give you the surgery, he starts viciously fighting back. He does not want the anesthetic. He's pleading for them not to give him the anesthetic, that he must remain awake. He needs to remain awake. Put me back under the gas. And in his struggle to not have the anesthetic given to him, he manages to tear one of the leather straps that was holding him down. So like an extreme amount of force. And then finally, when they give him the anesthetic, and they had to give him like 10 times the dosage or whatever just to get him to calm down, as soon as he fell asleep, he died. So after he passes away, they move on to the next worst off subject, the guy who had torn his vocal cords and couldn't speak. They bring him in for surgery, and he can't speak, but he's shaking his head because he doesn't want the anesthetic. He doesn't want to go to surgery,
God.
And he's fighting with
maybe this is not real.
He actually just passes out from exhaustion. And he too, once he falls asleep, or I guess falls unconscious, he dies as well. So now there's only 1 subject left. The other 2 that had lived to be pulled out of the chamber have now died as soon as they fell asleep, and the scientists don't have any idea why. Instead of bringing the last survivor into surgery, because now they've witnessed 2 surgeries end in death, they decide, let's put this guy back in the chamber and turn the gas back on, because apparently that's the one thing that's keeping these guys alive. And so in preparation for being put back into the chamber, they hooked him up with an EEG that basically measures your brain waves, which I guess they hadn't done to this point in the experiment. So they put him in there, and the scientists are watching the readout of the EEG, and
you
they
good,
noticed
Kaden?
that like his lines would just inexplicably flatline and then go back to up and down and then flatline again. And one of them had the wherewithal to look at the subject as it's flatlining, and they could see that every time he closed his eyes, it was like he was micro sleeping, like these little blinks. Basically, every time he fell asleep for like a fraction of a second, it was like he was suffering a brain death over and over and over again.
You know this one, Stasia?
Monitoring this, and they know what just happened to the other two. They died when they fell asleep. They're trying to rush to get the gas turned back on to keep this guy alive, but they didn't do it in time, and he eventually succumbs and falls asleep. And they can see before he ultimately dies that initially when he finally fell asleep, the EEG showed that he had fallen into a deep sleep. And then he flatlined and his heart stopped and he died. All of the subjects died, and no one really knows what killed them. Was it the sleep deprivation? Was it the gas? It could be a mixture of
Holy
the
smokes.
two, but we'll never know. But either way,
That's crazy,
all of them
Anubis.
died.
That's
Now,
crazy.
This is actually just a story, and there's no evidence to suggest that it's even true.
There you go.
But during that
There you go. Kaden's loving life. Man's never seen never just like watch a scary movie and just get scared knowing it's not real. Like shit. All right.
time frame,
Oh, we were about to watch this one and we didn't. We were about to watch this one. Yeah, let's watch this one. No, not Emily Rose. Not Emily Rose. Let's watch this one. Because I don't know what it is. I wish I knew what this Hannah Up one was already. So that, like, for example, the Katy Perry one, I literally, like, I knew how good it was. So I played it and it was great. Like, this one, I don't know. But they're all pretty good. They're all pretty good. But, yeah. Like, that one, he says it at the end. But, like,
After all,
95% of this guy's channel, not like these other channels, whatever, but this one, these are literally just real stories. But yeah, otherwise he'll say it like he said it at the end, like a legend. Oh man, he had to put it out there, you know.
right now, and just Google the name.
Okay, yeah, okay. Let's see. I'm excited. I hope this one's good because, yeah, I'm down to see one that I actually haven't seen that happens to be good. Thought he was trying. Nah, he's just a storyteller. And yeah, but like I said, like he tells true stories. But if it's not, like he'll tell you.
If you were to stop this video right now and just Google the name Hannah Up, who is the focus of today's story, it would bring up a list of articles about her very strange disappearance. And all of them would start with the partial explanation for what caused all of this craziness to happen. But what I'm gonna do is basically the opposite. I'm gonna tell you the craziness of what occurred from 2008 all the way up until today, 2020. And then I'm going to reveal the partial explanation that many people believe is behind.
No clown on the screen.
Not only does that make for a more compelling story, just purely from an entertainment perspective,
no clowns.
But it
no
also
clowns.
allows you, the
I don't like
viewer,
clown
to
shit.
have
It's
unbiased
corny.
view
It's
of
corny
events
scary.
that
Clown
happen.
shit is corny
So that
scary.
when
You know,
I
it's not
do
like
make this reveal,
real life scary.
you can be the judge if that is. Before we get into and you've come to the week, separate and lather. Also, let's get into.
Hi, baby. Let's go, man.
Around
Another one.
midday on September 16th, 2008, the captain of the Staten Island ferry in New York City was looking out at the water just south of Manhattan, and he noticed something bobbing in the water. And he said that it just didn't look right. He was drawn to it. It was pretty far away, but he knew that there was just something off about it. Couldn't tell if it was a person or debris, but either way, he sent two of his deckhands over to have a look. So they hopped in a skiff, they drove over, and very quickly they saw that it was actually a woman, and her face was in the water. So as soon as they pulled up alongside her, the first thing they did is grabbed her head and kind of pulled it out of the water. And to their surprise, she gasped for air. They pulled her up into the skiff. She had on just running shorts and a sports bra. She had a very bad sunburn on one side of her body.
Stop.
She was hypothermic. She was dehydrated, and she looked like she had been in the water for a very long time. They bring her back to the ferry. They
Came to life? What do you mean?
They call 911, and an ambulance is immediately sent out to go get her. As they're waiting for the ambulance, she starts to speak. I was just out for a run. I went running just a couple hours ago. Why am I here? They chalked it up to her being in shock, and based on her attire, you know, she had running shorts and a sports bra on. They're thinking, okay, you know, I don't know how she wound up in the water, but it seems like she went running, fell in the water somehow, and thank goodness we found her. She gets in the ambulance, they bring her to the hospital, and after
What the heck?
initial treatment is done and she's stable and laying in bed and being treated for hypothermia and for this bad sunburn, she starts saying to nurses and doctors she had just gone running like a couple hours ago. How did I get here? Why was I in the water? And they didn't know either. Finally, when she was able to confirm that she was in fact Hannah Up, and they got in touch with her family, who also confirmed.
Click that like button, stream. By the way, if you're in the stream, click that like button. Let's go.
Up. Investigators were baffled because Hannah Up had been missing for 3 weeks, not 1 day. When they said this to Hannah, she couldn't believe it. At first, everyone was okay with Hannah not being able to remember because she just went through something traumatic. We'll give her a couple of days and then we'll reapproach the subject. But as time went on, it became clear that Hannah had absolutely no clue what happened over a 3-week period that she had been missing. 3 weeks before she was found, she had left her apartment in New York City to go for a run. This was the day before she was set to start a new school year at her school in Harlem.
Abducted. It was the aliens. It was the aliens. It was the aliens. Oh, I unmodded everybody, like literally every single person in Stasia, and I was gonna like wait a month first and then remod people, and I did. I remodded a few people, and I meant to mod more, but there's like 4, but they're probably just not here right now. There's like maybe, I think there's like 3 or 4 mods, but yeah, not very many. And definitely none right now, but that's fine. We're chilling. I haven't had to. I have my chat open over here ready. I haven't had to do anything. It's chilling. Everyone's chilling tonight. All right. My God. My goodness. Oh, oops. Okay, so this girl. Visitors. What do you mean? This girl. Oh, visitors. Yeah. Might be. Was found. There was a something found in the water by some fishermen in New York, Staten Island. They went, checked it out, noticed there was a body, went to go pull the body out of the water, and the body woke up, gasped for air, and said, "Holy smokes, what am I doing here? I was just out for a run," said the woman. And here we are. And now, so apparently she's actually been gone she's been missing for 3 weeks, but she thinks she went for a run yesterday. I'm too scared. Oh, worst. Oh no, I'm so sorry. That sucks. And I kind of know those ones. That sucks. That actually sucks.
Hannah did not return to her apartment that night.
Oh man, is it like your own house? Like it's your parents, like your home at your house type thing? Make a run for it? Yeah, that's a turn on every light thing. That's a turn on every light and go. But just take it like you know what I always think about when that kind of thing happens? If I'm scared about something, oh, you're vibing then. If I'm scared like that, I try to think like, okay, this is the same house it was 18 minutes ago before I started this stupid ass video that scared me, you know? It's the same house it was right before I got scared and I wasn't thinking about any of this. It's the same house it was before, like, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like it's if that makes sense, like it's the same crib before you started watching this and got scared. It's the same crib. Like, just think about it like that. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you know, I don't know. It's just your head. But I get it though. I get that. Oh, big dog. Oh, you're good. I don't think my dog would alert me of something. Actually, yeah, he would, but not like that. Not like big dog would.
Roommates actually didn't think much of it. From what I can tell, the roommates were not particularly close. And it wasn't unusual for them to kind of have limited interaction. 4 days would go by before Hannah's roommates would notice that she still hasn't come back. So the first thing they did is they went into her bedroom.
I'm going to rewind it. Sorry.
That night, her room school year in New York City to go for a run.
I want to go. Oh yeah, right here.
She had left her apartment.
Appreciate that, Q2. I love the beard. Thank you. The mustache. Thank you. My night's going pretty well. Thank you for asking.
In New York City to go for a run.
Okay.
This was the day before she was set to start a new school year at her school in Harlem. When Hannah did not return to her apartment that night, her roommates actually didn't think much of it. From what I can tell, the roommates were not particularly close, and it wasn't unusual for them to kind of have limited interaction. 4 days would go by before Hannah's roommates would notice that she still hasn't come back. So the first thing they did is they went into her bedroom inside of the apartment, and they quickly were able to find that her passport was in there, her wallet with her cash, bank cards, her ID. Basically, all of the most important items that you would carry with you anywhere you went were sitting in her room. At this point, they called the police, and a massive, massive search is ignited for this woman. Hannah was beloved, not only by her family, but everywhere she went, her students loved her. All of her friends would say that Hannah was their best friend. Everybody she was around loved her. She was the center of attention, life of the party. And so when she became a missing person, people came out of the woodwork to go look for this woman. They looked everywhere. And after a week, the family and friends were starting to lose hope, and the police would admit that at that point, they were just looking for a body. They assumed that she had been the victim of some horrible crime. Her case, her missing person case, had made national headlines because it didn't really make any sense. There was absolutely no trace of her. She'd just gone running and then vanished. And despite living in New York City, where there's cameras everywhere and witnesses everywhere, they couldn't find any footage of her. They had no leads. No one came forward. The New York Times would say it was as if the city had opened wide and swallowed her whole. Then there was this huge...
Okay, that is the thing about the cameras. I've watched a lot of like police interrogation videos or other kind of videos or missing people videos. I've watched so many, and the thing he said about the cameras, like, yo, don't let that go over your head. Like, if you are outside in certain places, especially places like he said, like New York, if you are outside, out and about, there is camera footage of you. Like, that is the crazy thing. Like, there is camera footage, like stores everywhere, little lamp posts, like all of the, like so many of the videos that I've seen, it's like they show these little clips of like, oh, the guy was here and then he was here and then he was seen filling up gas and then they bought thing. Like, it's like they're everywhere. So for 3 weeks, not a trace. So you were either inside of somewhere for 3 weeks straight, didn't go outside once, or whatever. Let's see. So I haven't seen this one either.
Case because there was an Apple store in Midtown. No one came forward. The New York Times would say it was as if the city had opened wide and swallowed her whole. Then there was this huge break in the case because there was an Apple store in Midtown Manhattan that spotted her clearly entering their store and logging into one of their computers. They saw that she logged in with her email address, but on that computer, there was no record of her sending or receiving any messages, but she did successfully log in. And oddly enough, one of the people that went to school with her approached her and was like, Hannah? Hannah, is that you? You know, there's a huge search for you. Is this really you? Hannah on camera looks at him and says, no, I'm not Hannah. And she ups and walks away. Police show up. There's no sign of Hannah. She's gone. Police took the footage.
I see what you did there, buddy.
His mother.
I see what he did there. She ups and walks away. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But she's alive, so it's fine. I can make a joke. Hannah up. She up and walked away. Okay. No. All right. No one caught that. All right. Continue.
There's no sign of Hannah. She's gone. Police took the footage and showed it to Hannah's mother, and she recognized her 100%. That is Hannah, but no one could understand.
What happened in 1 minute? Basically, Hannah up. she I don't remember where you left, but basically, like, there she came back. I kind of already forget. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of already forget. Like I was taking it in, but I also forget. But anyways, no, it's telling the story of how the roommates went in her room, found all her stuff, wallet and everything, didn't find her for like days and days and days, and then finally she appeared randomly, and yeah, they're like talking to her like she appeared randomly, and someone went up to her with a camera and like said, "Are you Hannah? Like you look like Hannah," type shit. And she's like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." I'll rewind it.
No, I'm not Hannah. Hannah? Hannah, is that you?
What?
You know, there's a huge search for you. Is this
That's
really
it.
you?
Apple Store, yeah.
Hannah on camera looks at him and says, "No, I'm not Hannah." And she ups and walks away. Police show up. There's no sign of Hannah. She's gone. Police took the footage and showed it to Hannah's mother, and she recognized her 100%. That is Hannah. But no one could understand, why would she deny being Hannah? Is she being held
Holy
hostage?
smokes.
A day later, she popped up on the security camera at a Starbucks in Manhattan. But just like the Apple Store, by the time the report got to the police and they went to the Starbucks, she was gone. Same thing happened at a number of Manhattan gyms where she was apparently going and using their shower and then leaving.
What?
She somehow was able to get inside the gym, but she didn't have her gym pass. So they don't know how she got in. And again, every time police showed up, she'd be gone. And there's lots of other unanswered questions. How are you able to do anything? You don't have your license, you don't have your wallet, you don't have bank cards, you don't have a passport. We don't know where you're sleeping, where you're staying. How are you eating? What are you doing? Where are you coming from? What's wrong? While police were never able to determine where she had been
The way
sleeping
he asked
in those
that,
first
yo.
couple of weeks, they did determine that at some point towards the end of this 3-week period, she decided to leave Manhattan. And so she jumped into a kayak off of Chelsea Pier and began paddling south. And at some point, we don't know when, she jumped out of the kayak and began swimming south. And
What?
after several hours of swimming, she wound up at Robbins Reef, which is this incredibly isolated lighthouse that sits on this tiny little rocky island. She managed to pull herself up onto the island.
Oh my god. Yo, what the hell? Bro.
And then sat there on these rocks for almost 24 hours. This is where police believe she got the really bad sunburn. Then some event led to her getting back in the water and kind of bobbing and drifting her way all the way back over to the south side of Manhattan, where she was ultimately spotted and then rescued by the ferry captain. It took police and investigators quite a bit of time to put together this storyline of what happened to Hannah over those 3 weeks. And when they brought it to her and her family and said, "This is what we think happened to you," she still had no idea how any of this had happened. She thought she'd gone running, and then the same day she wound up in the water and was being rescued. While she was at the hospital, she had undergone a series of brain imaging tests to try to see
maybe,
what they could find, if there was some underlying neurological
Head injury?
condition
Yeah, maybe.
that might have caused her to forget this huge chunk of time. But the tests revealed no neurological issues.
Okay, but they didn't
concluded
reveal it
that
last
the
time either
episode
with that
was
other guy.
psychological in nature. Because her case had made national headlines just when she had gone missing in the first place, and then had been found under such baffling conditions, not only physically where she was located, but her inability to remember any of it, it created even more buzz around the whole story. And so people began to think she was lying or that she had staged the whole thing. But she hadn't. She just didn't understand why it had happened. But
24 hours is a long time.
People forgot about it, people moved on, and she was able to more or less go back to a normal life, even though she herself was very unsettled at the idea that she had 20 days that she has no memory of. Fast forward almost exactly 5 years to September of 2013, and now Hannah is living in Maryland. She is an assistant teacher at a Montessori school, and Hannah goes missing again. On the day she went missing, coworkers claimed to have seen her just a couple miles away from the school, and they assumed that she was walking to work. But she didn't show up for work that day, and when they tried calling her, she didn't pick up. They went to her apartment, she wasn't there, and so just like 5 years earlier, they called the police and they launched a search for Hannah up.
Yo, this is a Johnny Lewis thing.
Police located Hannah's phone and wallet sitting on a walking
This is a
path
Johnny Lewis
relatively
thing.
close to where she worked. But they started searching the area and they could not find her. 2 days after the search started, Hannah's mother received a phone call from a number she didn't recognize. When she picked it up, it was her daughter. And she said, "I don't know where I am, I don't know what's going on, but I'm okay." Hannah had regained her memory while laying in a creek bed next to a turned over shopping cart in some random park in Maryland, not the one where her phone and wallet were found. She had stood up, had no idea how she got there, and she flagged down a stranger and asked to use her phone and was able to call her mother. Her family, her friends, the police were all so relieved that she was found and unharmed that, much like the last one, she ultimately was released from the hospital because she wasn't hurt and was able to more or less move back into a normal life.
Not two disappearances.
Felt really guilty. She didn't understand why this was happening, but she felt really bad about it. And it was clear to her family and friends that she really wished she could somehow have a do-over, to just start fresh and start a new life where no one knew her as this person who keeps disappearing. A year after the Maryland incident, Hannah would move to the U.S. Virgin Islands, a popular location for Americans that want
U.S. Virgin Islands. What is that?
The grid. She was able to land a job teaching at a Montessori school, teaching 3 to 6-year-old children. And the director of the program would say that whenever they brought a family on a tour of the different classrooms, Hannah's classroom was always the first one they went to because she was such a great example of what children would expect if they came to this Montessori school. Because Hannah was not just a great teacher, she was a passionate teacher. She loved teaching, she loved her students, and she loved her new life in the Virgin Islands. But in September 2017, 9 years after her disappearance in New York and 4 years after her disappearance in Maryland, Hannah would go missing for a third time.
Please, Anubis!
This disappearance is a little bit unique relative to the other two. Right before she disappeared, there was a Category 5 hurricane barreling down on the Virgin Islands. And all of Hannah's friends, colleagues, everyone she knew was scrambling to leave the islands before it hit. But Hannah was not prepared to abandon the island and abandon her house and her school. And so she decides to stay behind. In the final few days before all of her friends and colleagues left the island, they described Hannah as being in some sort of a trance. She was hard to get through to, hard to speak to, but she seemed rather sing-songy, like she was in a really good mood, but very difficult to communicate with. On September 15th, just a few days before the hurricane would actually make landfall, the few staff members at the Montessori school who had stayed behind on the island to weather the storm called a meeting.
Please, someone get her a GPS.
She was
Facts.
last seen preparing her Montessori classroom for the imminent impact of the hurricane. When they went to her apartment, she wasn't there, and so they went out looking for her. One of her friends knew that a favorite location of Hannah's was Sapphire Beach, and when she got there, sure enough, there was Hannah's car parked in the parking lot with her purse, passport, and hundreds of dollars inside.
Literally chipper.
Hannah's clothes were found down on the beach on a chair, neatly folded, but
please,
there was no sign of Hannah anywhere. A desperate search for Hannah was launched, led by the Coast Guard, but it had to be abandoned after only a couple of days because the hurricane was barreling down on them. And to this day, she has never been seen or heard from again. There's a huge part of this story that
she's still gone.
Left out until right now. After Hannah was scooped up by the ferry captain and brought to the hospital after that first disappearance in 2008, they ran all those brain tests and they discovered that there was nothing wrong with her from a neurological standpoint. However, they did run a series of psychological tests and they discovered that she had an extremely rare form of amnesia called dissociative fugue. For those that suffer it,
fugue state. Fugue state. I've heard of that. I've heard of that from friggin' what's the show? Breaking Bad. She had that? I've heard about this.
Symptoms leading up to it, and then all of a sudden, you forget all of your autobiographical information, but you don't forget how to live. Someone in a fugue state could very easily leave their apartment, go to a store, interact with other people. They just don't understand who they are. They don't know their name. They don't know their history. They don't know why they are located where they are. This can last for a couple of hours, all the way to years. The most famous example of dissociative fugue is Jason Bourne from the big blockbuster movies about the CIA operative who wakes up and has no idea who he is or why he is where he is. He doesn't know the people around him, but he recalls all of his training. And is able to be this like ninja who can fight off bad guys left and right, but doesn't know who he is. Now, when Hannah
that's what it's about? No.
Almost certainly she was in a fugue state and then was located again, and thankfully she was alive. 5 years later, Same thing happens in Maryland. She goes into a fugue state, and then 2 days later she's found again, has no idea how she got where she got, but there she was. Now the tricky part is, in 2017 when she went missing, it would be very easy to say that she was in a fugue state because it had already happened 2 times before. However, other people believe that she just wanted to start her life over again. She hated being known only for her 2 disappearances. She wanted to be known as a happy, loving person, a great teacher, a great friend. And none of that was possible with her history. And so some say that she staged the last disappearance because she knew with the hurricane coming in that she would be able to kind of disappear without a trace, and people would assume that she was probably dead. So I'd love to get your take on what happened
crazy.
To Anna Hupp,
So she literally is still not found.
She disappeared. Was this just another
Wow. Still now. I thought it was gonna say, you know, she came back. Not still. Please. Come back. Come back, Hannah. Damn. That's mud. That's absolutely mud. Okay. Let me check out. Oh, that one's pretty good. Haven't seen this, but I don't think I want to see this. The Real Exorcism of Emily Rose. The Horrifying Case of Annalise Michel. So that's like the real version. I think I'm good on that, to be honest. I think I'm good on that. Go ahead, do it. Disappear for a fourth time. That's crazy though. Fugue state. Oh my gosh. That's mud. Okay, let me try this one's good too. I don't know what this is.
Some
but I've liked it already.
Taste better when they're prepared together. Just enough happiness.
Wait, no, I didn't like
a
it
pinch
yet.
Of fun,
So I haven't seen this one.
A delicious touch.
Oh, and oops, I actually want to make sure I like that other one so I know I've seen it. So I saw that one. And we'll watch this
After all
one.
you've done for us.
Another cleaning tip from Mr. Clean. Try Magic Eraser. And
Have a great
erase
one,
dirt and
Tani.
mud
Thanks for
on
being
shoes.
here. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us.
The types of missing person cases that I think are particularly interesting are those where the person who goes missing is either in a crowded place, so very difficult to disappear, at least without people seeing you, or they are oddly in touch or actively engaged with people around them when just like that they're gone. And so today I'm going to focus on 3 missing person cases that fit that description. But before we get into today's stories, if you're
yeah, not everything, but yeah. I mean, the ones we've seen tonight for sure. For sure. Have I seen that one? I don't think I have. 4 kids vanished from lockers. Nah, that's a I kind of want to do a good old. I'm gonna look up because other people do this. Like, I've seen all of his, and I don't know which one I've seen on stream or not. But the 3 videos, or the 3 top 3 pictures with disturbing backstories, or top 3 videos with disturbing backstories. I don't know which ones I watched on stream yet. But I only did this once, but I think I might have seen most of them on stream. I don't know. Let me just see. Where are they? But yeah, anyways, as I was gonna say, so there's one here, top 3 photos with scary backstories. There's actually like other ones too, like other people have been doing them more recently. I've been seeing them. So might be down to, let's start with this one. I just don't know if I've seen it already on stream. I've seen all of these myself, but whatever. Hopefully stream, like if it, just tell me, let me know if I watch this with you guys. And
today
yeah.
I'm going to share with you 3 progressively
let me know.
more horrifying true stories, and at the end of each of them I'm going to share
Anubis, the 2 bomb. Oh my goodness. Woo! Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anubis, the 2 bomb. Let's go. And thank you the other 2 bomb too. Anubis dropped 2 bombs tonight. Jeez. Holy smokes. Appreciate that love, support. I gotta do me? No. I don't wanna. Nah. I love watching it, but I have my own idea of the kind of another, like a third channel. I have a different idea, and it is kind of like facts type thing like these, but it's not scary stuff. I'm not gonna do it. There's already enough people doing it. Literally, there's so many people doing it. They can have it, like, and they're already all huge. Like, it's all good. Like, I would just be recycling stories, and I already see people recycling stories like crazy. Like, but nah, it's good. It's good. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. No chance. Oh, you meant watch? Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like do that as a YouTube channel. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That depends too, because those videos are usually like long, and I've been watching them though. I've been watching like 2-hour like interrogations and shit. I watched a 2-hour interrogation 2 days ago. I didn't watch it all in one go, but I watched like 20 minutes, then like another 40 minutes, and then like probably took me like 2 different days. But like that CS whatever channel, the one that has the what pretending to be crazy looks like, that channel, I think I watched like probably 10 of those videos. The interrogations are those videos are crazy, and the explanations with them are crazy. They're so good. Like, the person who did that channel like must have been some sort of like, I don't even know, you were something like a prosecutioner, something, defense lawyer, something. They were something at some point, because they explain it so thoroughly. It's crazy. They don't just put the footage. They really explain what's about to happen. Well, yeah, JCS. Yeah, that one. That's good. Yo, Prince with the two. Check. Thank you, Prince. The tuba. Thank you so much. That's crazy. They're so good. Yeah, they're so good. But I don't know if I think that'd be a lot for stream. Because also with stream, like I want them to be kind of short, because people come in and out, you know, like people come in all the time. It's like you can come in 17 minutes deep, and then it's like, oh God, like what are we watching, you know? But yeah. All right. It'd be hard to like latch on to something that we've already been watching for like 45 minutes and you're just coming in the stream, you know? But at least these ones, it's like max. Yeah, I like these ones. All right. So hopefully I haven't seen this on stream, but
share with you the picture that is famously associated with them. And of each of them, I'm going to share with you the, because that's all I do on all.
So for these ones, it's like some crazy story, and then he shows a picture at the end that is from that crazy story. Loana.
In 1909, Loana Constantinescu was a 27-year-old woman living in the Romanian city of Timișoara. Loana was a devout practitioner of Zoroastrianism, which is one of the world's oldest organized religions that began in ancient Persia and is now practiced primarily in East Asia. In the city that Loana was living in, it was majority Christian, and they looked at Zoroastrians as witches. As such, Loana was persecuted and ostracized primarily by these 2 Christian ministers that spread a rumor would spread and grow to the point where everybody knew Loana as like the singular witch of all the Zoroastrians in the city, and it ultimately incited this angry Christian mob to storm her house on October 21st, 1909, and rip her into the streets and savagely beat her to within an inch of her life. She would survive this lynching, and she would be taken to a hospital where she'd be treated for severe blunt force injuries and lacerations. But after 2 days of being in the hospital, when she had not made a full recovery at all, she checked herself out and headed home. The next day, Loana was found dead in her apartment, and her family and friends initially believed that she had died as a result of the injuries she had sustained from the angry mob, and that perhaps she had checked herself out of the hospital too soon, and
I don't remember this one.
That's why she must have passed away early. But when the authorities arrived at her house and began looking at the scene, it did not look like she had died as a result of those injuries. It looked more like some sort of ritual suicide. She was laying on this sofa with her arms over her chest. Next to the sofa was an altar that was adorned with strange occult symbols and ritual herbs and effigies. And on the altar was this goblet with deep, dark red stains on the inside. When they looked at Loana, even though she was fully dressed, Underneath her sleeves were all these cuts on her arms, and there were cuts on her legs as well. After her autopsy, the medical examiner said she had died from a combination of blood loss and internal shock from ingesting massive quantities of blood that triggered cardiac arrest. Luana had been draining her own blood into the sacramental goblet, drinking it, and then doing it over and over again until she died. Locals believe that was not just a ritual suicide, but rather she was placing a curse on her enemies. Almost immediately following her death, those two Christian ministers that had spread those rumors about her that led to the mob coming and attacking her, they both died of an extremely rare blood-borne illness.
Okay, so I don't like these ones because they can't be fact-checked. I like the ones that are like kind of recent, like 1990 max, like 1985 max, you know, like I like the ones that are kind of recent, 2005, 2010, some realistic shit. And like the ones that have to do with people who like, you can absolutely Google it and like it pops up. Like I love those ones. So this one is already kind of going to cheese me, but it's only one of 3. So it's all good. So what's good? What's good? Layla, what's up? How are you?
Following their demise, the two primary vigilantes that actually organized that mob that would attack Luana, they both died. One was hit by a falling tree and another died in a fire. And according to more recent accounts, Luana's curse didn't end with the death of her tormentors. There have been dozens of reports of people after seeing this image, which is of Luana after she was discovered by authorities in her home, that they will have bouts of extreme sleep paralysis. These are people that have never had sleep paralysis before, that this picture somehow induces sleep paralysis, like they're cursed by Luana.
Why would you show us the picture then?
Now that you've seen this image, you're cursed too. So,
Hi, I'm Alex Schultz.
Why?
A few years ago, my friend Andrew and I took a surf trip to Bali, Indonesia, and saw...
This guy's dickhead. Yo, look at him, he laughed.
Now induces sleep paralysis in them, like they're cursed by Luana. And so now that you've seen this image, you're cursed too. So you're welcome.
This guy's yo, my G, what? Yo, don't look on warning. Like, bro, this man said, oh my God, bro. Great. Thanks, bro. Guess we're all, yeah, that's it. Like all 30, like, sorry, yo. I had no warning. I'm sorry. All right, another one.
In 1876, Blanche Monnier was a beautiful 25-year-old from a very wealthy, prominent family.
What time?
Monnier was a... In 1876,
Blanche... 18, bro? Okay, nah, I'm sorry, y'all. I love y'all, but I'm skipping. I'm sorry. I can't do the 18s, bro. Like, even just that one's like, okay, great. That's just not my style. Oh my God, like what was this one about to be? Maybe I should just watch it. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is the last one for this one.
And so she was moved to a mental institution, and unfortunately she died about 10 years later.
Yeah, I can't do the 18s.
On October 13th, 1972, Uruguayan flight 571 was flying from Uruguay
My mom was
Chile
born, you know?
for a
She's
rugby
alive.
game. On board were 45 people. There was 5 pilots and crew. The other 40 were the rugby team. And
see, like this one already sounds more like, okay, like 1970 something and like Uruguay team, like it's a real sports team. Like, okay, we could do this.
Pilots and crew. The other 40 were the rugby team and their friends and relatives. So they take off and they're making their way to Chile, and the pilot was relatively inexperienced and he made a fatal mistake. He believed it was time to make their descent into Chile, but he was actually about 70 kilometers early. So as he's descending through the clouds, he believes he's going to see a runway and land this plane. Instead, he sees the Andes Mountains, and it's too late to pull up out of the way. He basically nicked the mountain, causing the plane to start tumbling down at breakneck speeds, 350 kilometers per hour. As it's tumbling down the mountain, the tail breaks off and 7 people are sucked out immediately. They all perish. It's blazing down this mountain, and then it comes to a crashing stop where on impact it kills the 2 pilots. But miraculously, of the 45 people on board, 33 were still alive when all the dust settled. But that night, 5 more people would perish from the freezing temperatures, and within a couple days of this crash landing, another person would die. Those who were still alive that weren't in a coma or critically injured used luggage and debris from the plane and seats to create shelter, and they actually started pulling out lipstick from inside of some of the passengers' luggage, and they tried to write SOS on the outside of the plane because the fuselage was still pretty clearly intact, but they didn't have enough lipstick. They didn't have any medical supplies, and they didn't have proper clothing for the temperatures they were in. They did not anticipate being in minus 30 degrees Celsius temperatures for extended periods.
Like it's getting like, it feels like it feels familiar.
Very little food, and it was running out very quickly.
Maybe this is one of the ones I saw on StreamYard.
They actually found a working radio that allowed them to tune in and listen to the media as they tried to find them. And so they had to listen in horror after about a week when the search was called off because no one knew where they were. And the assumption was they must have all died in the crash.
Oh my God.
When the food finally ran out, survivors began eating the seats inside the plane, the leather and the cotton. But as they're doing this, they know what the next step has to be if they're going to survive. They need to eat the dead. And so on day 9 of the ordeal, the survivors ate the pilots.
Oh my God.
Because they were the only people amongst the dead that they didn't personally know. The rest of the dead that they would ultimately eat were their friends and loved ones. Now, naturally, these people did not want to become cannibals, but virtually everyone, out of a need to survive, was able to make the adjustment.
Okay, but like... Okay. So, but what are we talking? Are we talking like... Because this is day 9? So like 9 days of decomposition or whatever it's called? Or what's it called? I think it's called decomposition. 9 days of that? Like your body just being there for 9 days. Even if you're alive, if you're just sitting around for 9 days, just alive normally and just not showering, that's crazy in itself. We're talking dead for 9 days. And then you start eating. You should have been made that decision, low key. Should have been made that decision 3 days in.
There were some people that couldn't, including one woman who didn't eat and ultimately cannibals. Virtually everyone.
Sorry, I'm gonna rewind.
Naturally, these.
Oh, they're cold? How cold? I wonder. Are they in like? Okay, yeah, no. If it's like snow type shit, then yeah, that definitely slowed down a big time.
Ultimately,
you're right.
Eat were their friends and loved ones.
Oh my God.
Naturally, these people did not want to become cannibals, but virtually everyone, out of a need to survive, was able to make the adjustment. There were some people that couldn't, including one woman who didn't eat and ultimately died of starvation on day 60 because she just was not prepared
16?
to do what was necessary to survive.
Or 16?
As if the situation wasn't bad enough, 16. An avalanche would eventually strike the landing site,
snow,
8 more
cold.
of these people.
Oh.
Everything they can to survive.
Okay, they're frozen.
But at the time of the avalanche, their food source had effectively run out. And so those 8 people who perished in the avalanche ultimately replenished their food source. From day 1, the survivors discussed climbing up and over the mountains and walking towards Chile to try to search for help. But the attempts so far had all failed due to extreme cold, malnutrition, altitude sickness. It was like they knew as soon as they walked over that mountain, they were going to die. And so many of them decided early on that they would rather just stay with the group because at least that way they would die as a group, or maybe by some stroke of luck they could still be discovered and they might be easier to discover as a big group. But 2 months after the crash, and with no help in sight, they know the search has been called off. 2 of the survivors basically say, screw it. I'm going to make the trek over the Andes Mountains. We have no supplies. We have nothing, no map, no compass, no anything. We're just going to walk roughly in the direction of Chile. And you know what? We're either going to die here or we're going to die out there. And so the two take off.
I would move. I just move for sure.
For 9 days, walking over the Andes Mountains with no equipment. They've been out for 60 plus days at this point, and they managed to walk into this valley, and they see that there are people living in this valley. There's actually a couple of fishermen right on the other side of this river.
As a hunter, Amber, and these aren't even hunters. Like, they're not even hunting and eating things. They're eating each other, Max. How could you Sleep, wake up, 9 days. But sorry, 2 months. 2 months. How? And then walking, were they walking for 9 days? And just stopping and falling asleep and then waking up? Stopping in the middle of no cover, no shade, nothing, or not shade, protection from the cold. And just how?
So they go down to the edge of the river and they're yelling out to these people on the other side. The fishermen couldn't make out what they were saying. And so the fishermen, they got a piece of paper and they put a pencil in it and balled it up with a rock and threw it across the river. And they were able to write down that they had survived a plane crash. They were located back in that direction. There was 14 other survivors and they desperately needed help. Balled it up, threw it back.
And
3
no
Chilean helicopters were spun up and sent off in their direction, and the 14 other survivors were able to be picked up.
Oh shit! Sorry. Oh wait, they found people?
Threw it across. There's actually a couple of fishermen right on the other side of this. See that there are people living in this valley.
Okay.
There's actually a couple of fishermen right on the other side of this river. And so they go down to the edge of the river.
Beautiful.
And they're yelling out to these people on the other side. The fishermen couldn't make out what they were saying. And so the fishermen, they got a piece of paper and they put a pencil in it and balled it up with a rock and threw it across the river. And they were able to write down that they had survived a plane crash. They were located back in that direction. There was 14 other survivors. And
Oh
they
my
desperately
God.
needed help, balled it up, threw it back. 3 Chilean helicopters were spun up and sent off in their direction, and the 14 other survivors were able to be picked up, brought to safety, and all 16 would make a full physical recovery. However, the most difficult thing they would ever have to recover from was becoming reluctant cannibals, which is something that haunts all of them.
Literally.
And here is the famous final picture of inside Uruguayan Flight 571 just moments before they crashed into the Andes Mountain and had to go through that horrific 72-day ordeal.
72 days. This is a real rugby team, Peru rugby team in 1972. Some of these dudes ate these other dudes. That's insane. Oh my God. Imagine you just cutting up your boy, just munching him. Munching his arm. Where do you start? Arm, thigh? You go for the thigh. Anyways.
And had to go through that horrific 72 days.
Imagine if they left earlier, they would have been, damn, they would have been good. You hate to see it.
Today I'm going to tell you.
Think there's a movie for that? Maybe. And come to think of it, I don't think I have heard that. I think I heard something similar, but now that it's done, I don't think I did hear that. Oh, I didn't like this one. Did I not watch it? If I haven't seen this one, that would be beautiful. I would love to see one that I haven't seen. Oh, please. Maybe I just forgot to like it. Please.
3 progressively more. Today I'm going to tell you 3 progressively more horrifying stories that at the end of each of them, I'm going to show you the picture or pictures that are famously associated with that particular story. But before we get into all right, let's
Soccer team that got stuck in a cave. That also sounds familiar. Yeah, the PTSD of that would be like no other. Like no other. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I would love a breakdown of what happened day by day. Like how I want more info. Like what animals, like. Oh, there is a movie for the rugby team? What is it called? Please, because I love seeing a documentary and then seeing the movie that was made after. I was trying to do that with that movie about the triplets that were split up at birth and found each other. He has a video on it, and I saw it in his video first, and then I was like, this is a crazy story. No way. Started Googling it. It's real. There's like 2 movies made of it. And I looked it up on my TV, on Apple TV. I looked it up, and it was like, I had to pay for it. And I'm like, damn. Maybe another time, but it's there on Apple. Like it's on like, I don't even know where it is. Crave or I don't know. It's on something. It's called 3. I don't remember what it's called. 3. I don't know. Identical Strangers. 3 Identical Strangers. I think it's called. But that's an example of that. Like I saw the documentary first. There was a movie about it. So what's it called? Alive. Perfect. I'm writing that down because I'm trying to see that. Oh, boom. I have a little note file actually already. Into the Wild is one of them too. 3 Identical Strangers and White House something on HBO Max. White House Murder or something. Okay, so that's called Alive. Rugby team flight crash. Plane crash. Okay. Cool. Cause something about that is just, oh, like an old one? Okay. I'll probably peep that. Alright.
On March 20th, 1980, significant volcanic activity began to occur all over Mount St. Helens in Washington state. The north face of the mountain had begun to visibly shake, and then by March 27th,
after this video, yeah, it's getting pretty late for me. I have a lot of stuff to do. But right after this video, it's gonna be the last video stream. But yo, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. We had a great stream. But yeah, we got a lot. 13 minutes.
Steam coming out of the craters and vents all over the north side of the mountain. Washington state. The north face of the mountain had begun to visibly shake, and then by March 27th, there was steam coming out of the craters and vents all over the north side of the mountain. That April, scientists began to notice that there was this massive bulge that was growing on the north side of this mountain that was about 1 mile in diameter, and every day it was growing about 6 feet farther and farther up the mountain. And it was basically this massive undercurrent of magma that was going towards the top of the mountain, getting ready to explode. Initially, there was some speculation that perhaps this magma bulge is not nearly as big of a deal as people are making it out to be, that really at worst it could be a small eruption and it would have no impact on the surrounding areas. But authorities became skittish and were worried that they could just be caught with their pants down if this turned into a full-blown volcanic eruption. So they began evacuating the area. And for the most part, everybody evacuated, with the exception of a few scientists and some photographers and some really hardcore people that did not want to leave their homes. One of those people who had stayed behind was Robert Landsberg, who was a photographer, and on May 18th, 1980, he was out hiking about 7 miles away from the summit of Mount St. Helens, and he was making his way up to try to find a good viewpoint of that north face. He wanted to look at that magma surge that was making its way up on the north side of the mountain. And so finally he makes his way up and he gets to a great spot and he starts taking pictures of that north face. While Robert is taking pictures of that side of the mountain, a 5.2 magnitude earthquake struck the area, causing that entire north face of Mount St. Helens to be sheared off and begin falling down the side of the mountain. It's this massive landslide. It's one of the biggest that's ever been recorded in that area. But what it really did is all of a sudden that entire magma surge that had been building up underneath on the north side, making its way up, suddenly is uncovered, and it causes this massive volcanic explosion shooting 15 miles straight up into the air.
What?
Along with this massive
the earth is
vertical
insane.
blast,
It's so deep.
Lateral blast basically pointed directly at Robert, and it sent these molten debris surging down the mountainside at 100 miles an hour or faster. Robert knew he had no hope of escaping this wall of magma and ash coming straight at him. So he decides, instead of trying to save myself, I'm going to take as many pictures as I can of this volcanic eruption, and then I'm going to try to protect the film. And so Robert took as many pictures as he could of this massive volcanic wall.
This photographer said, I'm Ove. I'm not even going to try and save myself. I'm going to take pictures and then save the camera. Like shield the camera. Yo, that's a crazy thought to have in your head. Like, I'm dead 100%. But let me show people what happened at least. Bro.
Myself, I'm going to take as
went
many
out like a legend.
as I can of this
well, if he died, like, we'll see.
And then I'm going to try to protect the film.
And I haven't
so
seen
Robert
this.
took as many pictures as he could of this massive volcanic wall of death coming towards him until the very last second when he puts his camera into his bag, he puts that into his backpack, and then he holds it against his chest and lays down on the ground using his body as the last protective measure to try to save this film for posterity. 17 days later, they find Robert Landsberg's body, and sure enough, he was able to protect his film by laying on top of it. And so they developed the pictures that he took,
so he died.
And they're incredible. Here are the final pictures that Robert Landsberg took before he was killed by the volcano.
So he did die like that. And there's about to be an ad in 2 seconds. Oh no, don't put it there. You should have put it before the picture started, bro.
Your perfect phone plan is in stock, right where you
should put it right before the
pics.
pics.
The Mobile Shop.
All right.
Is buying a home in Ottawa still possible?
Is it?
Let CIBC show you how.
Targeted ads kill me. What am I looking at? That looks like smoke. Oh, that's hard to like see what I'm looking at. This guy took all this. Bro, I wish they were a little better, Loki. He died for those? Shit. No, I'm not. Can't really tell what I was looking at.
On September 21st, 2014, Darsh Patel, who was a...
That's still very wild. Still very wild.
On September 21st, 2014, Darsh Patel, who was a 22-year-old college student, was out hiking in a New Jersey state park along with 5 of his college buddies. As they were about to head down a particular trail that they had actually gone to this park to go down, a man and woman come charging up the path towards them. And so Darsh and his friends stop. And
chat, chill.
New Jersey State Park.
Just, I don't know.
Five of his college buddies. Year-old college student. On September 21st, 2014, Darsh Patel, who was a 22-year-old college student, was out hiking in a New Jersey state park along with 5 of his college buddies. As they were about to head down a particular trail that they had actually gone to this park to go down, a man and woman come charging up the path towards them. And so Darsh and his friends stop and they're looking at these 2 people who look totally distraught and scared. And the man and woman immediately say, "Hey, don't go down this path. We were just down there, and for the past 10 minutes, a black bear has been stalking us in the tree line. We don't know where it went, but we got up here, we turned around.
Vanessa's the worst nightmare.
We would not suggest going down this
nightmare.
path. It's just not worth it." Darsh and his friends
we've
tell
had
the couple,
so many
thank you for giving us a heads up. We were actually going to go down that path, and so I guess now we won't. And so the couple, they quickly leave, and Darsh and his friends are sitting there thinking, well, now what do we do? Because this was the trail we were going to go down. This is why we're here. As they're standing there, they start talking about, well, maybe we just go down anyways. You know, there's 6 of us.
Who?
I
Which
highly
one?
doubt that
Who
a
said
bear
that?
is going to come out of the woods and attack
Oh
6
my-
people, especially a black bear that is not known to attack people.
Bear said, try me. I'll take all of you. I'll take every last one of you. This guy said,
why don't we just walk down a ways, and if we see the bear, then we just turn around and leave. And if we see the bear, might make some good pictures. Let's just go down there and see what happens. And they start walking. And sure enough, about 10 minutes into their trip down this trail, they see this massive bear parked right in the center of the trail, about 250 meters away from where they were. The bear did not appear to be doing anything. It was just sitting there, but it was clearly looking at the group of them. So Darsh and his friends are just standing there, not really sure what to do, so they start taking pictures and videos. They're not moving any closer, but they just start documenting what they're seeing because this bear was apparently stalking this couple. It was pretty interesting, and they figured, hey, make some good pictures. So they start taking pictures and taking some videos of this animal, and the animal starts walking towards them. Now, it's 250 meters away. They recognize that this is a dangerous animal, and we don't want to get too close to it, but they felt relatively safe. Even if it started moving towards them initially, they still felt safe. But the animal starts jogging towards them. At this point, the boys put their phones away, turn around, and they start hightailing it the other way. And somebody looks back and notices the bear is now sprinting at them. This causes the group to completely panic. They start sprinting back towards where their cars were parked. Absolute full panic back up the trail. No one's paying attention to anybody else. They're just running for their lives.
Like, you're so dumb. I don't know. Like, you put yourself in the situation to, there's so many videos I watch where the person literally walks into, like, very literally walks into the situation that they put themselves in. They just said, they know what could happen, and they said, you know what? Fuck it. So many scuba diving ones, forest ones. Like, I don't understand these people. It's like a real life, like, you know, when you watch scary movies and you're like, no, don't go in there. Don't do it. This is real life. People actually do that shit. People actually do that shit that would make you stand up and scream at the TV in real life. So it's no wonder people put that shit in movies. You watch it in movies and you're like, why would they even write this in a movie? People wouldn't even act like that. No. Yeah, they do. They actually do. People are just, they don't have enough struggles. This is what I like to say. Some people don't have enough struggles in their life. They go and look for problems. And I'm not going to say what I mean when I say some people, but y'all, I'm sure some of y'all know what I mean. certain types of people. But to be honest, I think these guys were like Indian or something. Maybe one of them, two of them. But some people just don't have enough problems. They're just like, let me go look for actual nightmares and problems and stress, and because I don't have any in my life, bro. Catch me only getting an eyesight of a bear. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? Perfect Twitter. Oh God. Why would you? People literally, oh my God, that's crazy. People came up from the forest already scared, telling them don't go. Then they actually went still after that. See, that would have been enough for me to not go. I'd be like, bet, you guys are going back? Oh, bet. I'll see you in the car. No problem. No problem. Like that means that's 6 people. That's 6 people that were all bozos, every single one of them. Because if even one person wasn't a bozo, they'd easily stay back. Cause me, there've been times where we like, man, we're in a different city and like all mans are going to the club or something, and I'm like, I actually don't want to go, and I just don't. In a different city, clubbing, that's just clubbing, and I'm like, and everyone else would go except me, or me, and it's like, that's that easy. So something that's actually safety, like your actual life, that should be way easier to turn down. That should be easy to turn down, which tells me there's a group of people, they were all friends for a reason. That's it.
And as they're turning their heads to look, the bear is gaining on them and gaining on them. Finally, after about 10 minutes of just running for their lives, they make it to the parking lot and they turn around. There's no bear, but their short one hiker, Darsh Patel, is still in the forest somewhere. The group starts screaming for Darsh. They know there was this aggressive bear in there chasing them, so they're obviously worried about him potentially getting attacked, and so they immediately call 911. The police show up and park rangers show up, and they go into the forest to find this bear and to find Darsh. And very quickly they come across this bear in a clearing, this 300-pound bear all by itself, aggressively pacing around this lump in the middle of this clearing that had sticks and branches on it. It wasn't clear what it was, and this bear is just pacing in a circle around this thing. And as these 2 park rangers get closer, they're armed. The bear looks at them and makes a move like it's going to charge, and they elect to shoot and kill this bear. Later, the bear's remains would be taken to a laboratory, and inside of the bear's stomach was Darsh Patel. He had been killed and eaten by this bear, and that lump that was on the ground that the bear was circling was whatever was left of Darsh that had not been consumed yet. When they recovered Darsh Patel's phone, they went into his images, and they found he had taken one final picture before he was attacked. Here it is. The bear was not malnourished, it was not diseased, it just decided it wanted to stalk, kill, and eat a human.
Bro. I don't even want to think about like that kind of death, man. Like a bear death? A bear, bro? A bear. Like, please, I'll take anything. I'll take so many other things. Like, I'll even take drowning over that. And drowning is so ov. Like, drowning is painful. I don't know, obviously, but like, I'm assuming painful, kind of slow, you know? But I would take fire. I think I would take fire over that. I think I would take a burning building over that. Truly. Nah, that's really slow too. But bro, how fast would you die? Like, I don't think you would die fast enough if a bear is attacking you. You'd be fighting back kind of, and like, it would be too much pain for too long, bro. You might lose a limb before you're dead. And that's crazy. You know? Like, that's crazy. I don't know if they go for the kill immediately or if they just start. Ugh, that's crazy. It looks pretty far away in the pic. Bruh.
Diseased. It just decided.
That looks about 15 feet away. And also, Is that? I wish he showed. He said they took they all took a bunch of pictures. They should have showed those ones too. But hauling ass though, like that picture is taken. It's like 15 feet away, and like you said, hauling ass. Like it is like probably like a second later, it was 5 feet away, like type shit. Like it's not like it's just there standing there 15 feet away. I think it's running towards him right now. And I don't know, what did he do? Turn around and take the picture? Like, what's up, Tiara? Into its habitat. Michael said, to be fair, I can't believe it. Michael, get your ass in the forest right now. Get your ass in the forest, Michael. Michael said, to be fair. Yo. To be fair. Yeah, fighting for your life. Oh, because you know, you're fighting back. That's what I'm saying. Like drowning and stuff, it's like you're not fighting anything. You're just like, oh, I'm dying. You're just dying. Fire, like you're not fighting anything. You're just dying. But like, nah, fighting for your life is too much, man. That's too much. That's too much. Yeah, true. Fair enough, bro. You're not from here. I don't. Anything bigger than a dog, I'm out. I'm not about that life. All right, here we go. Last one.
Vladimir Komarov was a Soviet astronaut who in 1967 was scheduled to orbit the Earth in the...
Knowing that you're going to lose. That's the thing. Not like, oh, the adrenaline, like I might actually win this. No, you know you're going to lose, but you have to, like, you're going to fight. Oh, it's just gross. It's just a gross. I don't even want to think about that. That's like, that's too much pain for too long.
A Soviet astronaut
for
who
sure.
In 1967 was scheduled to orbit the Earth in the first manned flight of a particular Soviet spacecraft called the Soyuz. Komarov would be flying this mission solo, and so he needed a backup in case for some reason he couldn't go. And his backup was Yuri Gagarin, who was actually Komarov's best friend. This mission was very important to the Soviet Union, more from a political standpoint, but nonetheless, the pressure was on Komarov to successfully complete this mission. And so he, along with his backup, Yuri, had to train extra hard and make sure they did not screw this up. But it turns out the fail point for this mission was almost certainly not going to be Komarov or Gagarin if he ended up going instead of Komarov. It was going to be the spaceship itself. Gagarin, along with a host of engineers, did a full-blown inspection of the Soyuz and found 203 significant structural problems, and they all recommended postponement of this mission. But their recommendation was ignored because, again, this mission was so politically important to the Soviet Union that they were effectively ready to risk their astronauts to make it happen. When Komarov found out about all these structural issues and the fact that the powers that be were not even listening and were basically saying, we don't care, you're doing this mission anyways, he was crushed, and he told a KGB agent that he was certain he was going to die. And this KGB agent would later say that he asked Komarov, well then why don't you refuse the mission? And Komarov said, if I refuse the mission, they're gonna make my best friend go, and he'll die up there, so I have to.
Oh my God.
Gagarin pleaded with Komarov to relinquish
one or the other.
let Gagarin go instead of him, but Komarov was staunch. He said, I've been given this mission, I'm gonna go, you're gonna stay here. But what Komarov did, which is so legendary, is he made sure his funeral, if he were to die in the course of this mission, would be open casket. Because he knew if he came back to Earth, it was probably going to be because this spaceship has crashed, and he wanted the Soviet leadership to see what they had done. So sure enough, Komarov gets in the Soyuz on launch day, he takes off, and the problems began almost immediately. They had very little power, they had limited communications with the ground, and the craft itself was spinning uncontrollably. Seeing how badly it was going already, Soviet leadership on the ground instructed Komarov to nix the mission and just try to come back to Earth.
Michael.
For 5 hours, Komarov circled Earth and attempted to re-enter Earth's atmosphere. But his ship, because of all of those...
Michael, you're a legend. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you.
18 times he Komarov circled Earth to nix the mission and just try to come back to Earth. For 5 hours, Komarov circled Earth and attempted to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, but his ship, because of all of those structural problems, didn't work. And so 18 times he attempts to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, but each time it fails. And it was around this time that American intelligence reported a conversation between a high-ranking Soviet leader on the ground and Komarov. And the leader on the ground is basically crying and saying they're so sorry to Komarov and that he's going to be a hero. They got his wife to come on, and his wife is talking to
on the
Komarov,
speaker.
and Komarov's telling her, what to do with the kids, what to do with the estate. He's perfectly fine and healthy, but the craft is doomed, and everybody knows it. Then that call ends, and Komarov, on his 19th attempt, is able to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, which everyone was pretty surprised he could even do that. But his parachutes failed. As Komarov is plunging to his death, over the radio, he's cursing the Soviet leadership that doomed him by putting him in a botched spaceship. And so sure enough, on April 24th, around 7 a.m., Komarov's craft smashes into the ground, killing Komarov. And when they open it up, it's clear what happened to him. He didn't die on impact. He basically burned alive inside of this capsule as it was careening down towards the Earth. And so all that's left of him is this charred pile. But because Komarov explicitly stated that they had to have an open casket funeral, specifically because he wanted the Soviet leadership to see what they had done to him, they had to hold an open casket funeral with just these charred remains. And here is the famous picture of Komarov's funeral, where the actual Soviet leaders that put him in that spaceship that was doomed, here they are viewing his open casket funeral. So that's going to do it, guys. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these three stories, and I will get back to all the early commenters. Plus, I will pin the best comment at the top of the comment section. If you enjoyed today's story...
Bro, I was like, it's what he was talking about, but for some reason, I don't know why I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that for some reason. I really he was literally leading up to it, and some reason still I was not expecting him to actually show fucking... Bro, wildin'. Should we do another one or should I get out of here? I might do another one. It's getting really late for me, but it's only one. I'll do another one. That's crazy. I love the photo things though. I love the photo ones. That is actually a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Did we watch this one? Oh shit. I think I know what that one is.
Today, I'm going to share with you 3 progressively...
What more? Bruh, imagine, facts. You have to look them in the eye. And it's not like, I love that he put it out there what happened. I love that he put it out there. Like, yo, let it be known. Them niggas fucked me up. It was them. They did it on purpose. They knew what was going to happen. It was them. Like, imagine just knowing and telling them. It's not like, oh, yeah, something happened and no. Closed casket. We don't need to know how bad it was. No, I love that. I love that. That's very smart of him. Shouldn't that come from? Yeah, low key. But different time. It's like 60 something. And also like so high up in, this isn't even government. This is what it is government. It's so, what is this? Soviet? And anyways, I don't think, they're easily not going to jail for that. People shoot people, cops shoot people and don't go to jail. Like, they are not going to jail. Military lieutenant, I don't know what they are, but they're not, no. For that, no chance. But that's crazy. That's crazy. Please tell me that's not real. I think it is. I think it is. But let's do this one. And what did I just see on the corner that I kind of, this one? I like this one a lot, actually. I like this story. Did we watch this on stream? Let me know.
Let's go gaze at window displays.
Just wait for this ad to finish. But let me know if we watch this on stream, because this is actually kind of creepy story.
Let's go shop small with Amex.
Physical reaction.
It's like 16 minutes. Yeah, I like this story a lot. But let me know. Yeah, coming out of the Soviet, for sure. Especially back in the day. Did we watch the story about the doc? Let me know. Did we watch the story about the doc? If not, we're watching this first, and then maybe we'll go back to the top 3 photos. But I love this story. And I've actually seen this on another channel too, which is crazy. I'm like, wow, this seems like such a this story seemed like such a I don't know, specific, I don't even know, specific ass story. But Yeah.
When I first read
I've seen
this
it twice.
story, I had a physical reaction to the end of it because it comes completely out of left field. You're not ready for it, and it's so horrifying. And no, I'm not just hyping the video. Wait until you hear the ending. It's pretty intense. So fair warning, it's tough to listen to, but it's a great story. I hope you enjoy it.
Chills, not chills, but it's like, ugh. It's like, ugh. You're gonna be like this at the end. Like it's like one of those, but it's like it's not like scary. It's not scary at all. It's not scary. This one, it's just like whoa, ew. It's like ew. It's like an ew vibe. Not scary though. The lead up might be a little scary, like but it's not really. It's not really. Oh, Harold, who's good? Faraway Doc.
Back in 1994, an 11-year-old named Mark was living just outside of Philadelphia with his family. And for the past few summers, he and his siblings would go up to this summer camp on Mount Kitney in a rural part of New Jersey, and they would stay there for about 8 weeks every summer. And this year would be no different, so...
No, it's not gory at all. Not gory at all.
On June 23rd, Mark and his siblings and his family loaded up the minivan and they began their 2.5-hour commute up to Mount Kitney. When they arrived, the parking lot is filled with parents dropping off their kids, and there's already a batch of campers that had arrived already that are coming down to meet the new campers. And in the middle of all of this chaos, one of Mark's friends from the previous summer, his name was Kyle, he was the same age as Mark, he saw Mark and he runs down and he excitedly tells Mark that they had been placed in the same cabin this year. And so Mark is thrilled. The summer is already off to a great start. So for the next hour or so, Mark and his siblings and Kyle, they began moving all of their stuff up to the cabins. And then at some point, all the parents left and all the campers were instructed to head over to the big dining hall where the camp director and some of the camp counselors were going to...
By the way, summer camp, that's gotta be the biggest vibe. Like, I never did that in my life. Never went to a camp, never went to like those kind of things. Whatever, Boy Scout, whatever. Never did that kind of stuff. But I've gone camping before. But I mean, like this, like you go with a bunch of kids and there's like, no, I've never done that kind of stuff. That would be so fun as a kid, for a kid. Make sure Miles does that. No, not the Crocs.
We're going to go over expectations. Big dining hall.
Why is everything happening in Jersey? I swear most things happen in Wisconsin, honestly.
To the big dining
most
hall
crazy,
where the
like
camp director and some of the camp
mysterious kind of stuff.
We're going to go over expectations and scheduling over the next few days. So Mark and Kyle make their way over to the dining hall. They sit down at one of the long tables next to a couple of their buddies, and they listen in while the director goes over the rules and the regulations. And the director would make a special point, like they do every year, to remind all the campers that the faraway dock is absolutely off limits. So don't ask about it. Don't try to...
Okay, they're going to a camp, summer camp. Just for anyone who's coming in right now, these kids, they all pulled up to this summer camp, and now they're in the big, just like, you know, auditorium, cafeteria, whatever, room, cabin, dock, whatever. It's just a room, and I don't know what you want to call it, principal, dean, administrative, whatever, is just telling them about how they're telling them all the rules of the summer camp, running it down. I'm good, True Red. Running it down. Don't do this, don't do that. If you need this is where it is. Boom, boom, boom. And the main thing they said was, do not go to the faraway dock. While they're talking about everything, like what they're going to do that summer, like all the fun things they're going to, don't go to the damn faraway dock. They made sure to say that on the first day. Orientation, perfect. Thank you for. I'm shit at explaining things. The man just said it, and I literally can't even explain it as well. Like that's crazy. But yeah, orientation. They're literally in orientation right now. Like picture Harry Potter the first day. Picture that long table, a bunch of kids sitting around, and picture that.
The faraway dock is absolutely off limits. So don't ask about it. Don't try to swim out to it. Just leave it alone. The main cluster of buildings that made up the camp was situated right up against this huge man-made lake that was quite long and fairly narrow. And on one side of this lake was the designated swimming area, and then this side they didn't even use for the camp. And within the swimming section, there was a main dock that extended fairly far out into the water that they divided. On one side was the weaker swimmers, and on the other side of the dock was the more advanced swimmers. And then farther out past the dock were these two floating docks, these square floating docks. There was one that was maybe about 10 meters away from the head of the main dock. And then there was the so-called faraway dock that was absurdly far away. In fact, no one really knew why it was out there to begin with. It was at least 100 meters away from the head of the main dock. There were lots of conspiracy theories about why the faraway dock was actually off limits, because the camp staff never actually explicitly said what their reasoning was for not allowing anyone to go near it. They just said it was very dangerous. Most campers believed it was just because the faraway dock was...
If it's a bunch of kids at a camp, it's like, is it smarter to tell them Forbidden Forest? True, same vibe. Truly. That's a great reference, actually. I wonder if it's smarter to tell a bunch of kids exactly why, like tell them what's there, tell them don't go there because this, or make it a mystery. I think if you make it a mystery, I don't know, man. I think you're gonna have kids going out there if you make it a mystery. Unless you say that it's like life endangering or something. I don't know.
So far away. It was a dangerous swim to be making, even for an experienced swimmer. They just said it was very dangerous. Most campers believed it was just because the faraway dock was so far away. It was a dangerous swim to be making, even for an experienced swimmer. Other campers had heard a rumor that years earlier, someone had swam out and then gotten sucked underneath. There was apparently some suction underneath this dock, and they got sucked underneath and they drowned. And then the most outlandish conspiracy theory was the dock was not actually a dock at all. It was a lid that was covering over a secret tunnel that went into the lake. But regardless of whichever conspiracy theory the campers believed in, the faraway dock had developed a very spooky reputation.
Kids, they're probably just telling all these stories every summer. Like, oh, I heard them freaking, that's so funny, man. That would be so fun, just being a kid, just doing that kind of shit. That's so funny. Measurement. Yeah. He does that because, exactly. For people like you and me, I guess, like I wouldn't know the difference. That's so smart. Have to be real or not at all.
Theory the campers believe secret tunnel that went into the lake. But regardless of whichever conspiracy theory the campers believed in, the faraway dock had developed a very spooky reputation, and they did not need to be told twice to not go near it. No one's going near it.
Okay.
Well, unless you're Kyle. After the director and some of the counselors had gone up and spoken, the campers were allowed to finish their meal and then make their way back to their cabins. So Mark and Kyle finish their meal and they start walking back. They go into their cabin. They're getting set up in their bed. Their two other cabin mates come in and they're all kind of chatting and joking around. And at some point they turn off the lights and they want to go to bed. And after a little while, after the lights have been turned off in the cabin and everyone's trying to sleep, Kyle breaks the silence by saying, "Hey guys, I really want to swim out to the faraway dock this summer." Now, Mark and the other two that were in there with Kyle had heard Kyle say this before. He talked incessantly the summer before about wanting to swim out to the faraway dock, but he never did, and he really never showed any serious attempt at wanting to go out there. And so when he's saying this now,
that one kid.
They're not taking him seriously at all. And so they kind of laughed and said, "Yeah, it's pretty creepy, that dock out there. I wonder why we can't go out there." And they kind of had a quick discussion about, the various hot theories around why you can't go out there, and ultimately they just kind of wrote it off and went to sleep. The next morning, Mark and Kyle got up and began their walk over to the dining hall to get some breakfast. And on the walk, Kyle says to Mark, "Hey, I want to swim out to the faraway dock today at lunch. Will you come with me?" And so to this point, Mark has only ever heard Kyle talk about the faraway dock and going to it in theory. There's never been a timestamp of this is when we're going to do it. And all of a sudden, Mark's thinking, Kyle might be serious. He might actually want to do this. So Mark looks at Kyle and he's like, "Are you sure that's a good idea? Because I know there's lots of theories about why we can't go out there, but it's pretty clear the camp counselor and the director believe it's a dangerous place." And Kyle just kind of smirks and he's like, "I don't believe that. My dad told me that dock is probably just rotting and that's why they don't want us to be on it. And so I think as long as we're not jumping on it and we stay towards the edge of the dock on the main beams, we should be fine." At this point, Mark wants to convince Kyle not to do it. So he takes another approach. And he goes, "Well, Kyle, what about the swim out there? I mean, that's a difficult swim and, you're not you're not their best swimmer. So how do you feel about that? And Kyle shrugs and he's like, we'll just take some pool noodles and we'll take our time going out there. And hey, if I start drowning, you can just rescue me. Mark started to get the sense that this was going to happen whether he participated or not. And Mark's thinking to himself, if he goes and he's successful at getting out to the faraway dock and I basically back out because I'm too scared to go, I'm going to have a whole summer of living that down and spending all my time with this guy who's going to rub it in my face. And so Mark didn't know what else to say to Kyle, and he just says, all right, if you go, I'll go with you. So Mark and Kyle go in, they have their breakfast, and then afterwards they split up because they each had different activities that morning. And so they don't see each other for a couple of hours. And then it comes to be lunchtime, and Mark knows this is the time they were going to swim out to the faraway dock.
What are you talking about, Red? What are you talking about?
He's hoping as he's walking towards the dining hall that somehow Kyle's forgotten or has changed his mind. And as he gets right in front of the dining hall, he hears Kyle yell his name, and he looks to the side of the building.
He thought he would forget.
Right next to the dining hall, and he sees Kyle, and he's got his bathing suit on and his pool noodle in hand. He's got an extra one as well.
Ready to go.
Next to Kyle are his two other cabin mates who also have bathing suits on and are also holding pool noodles.
Bro.
Mark's pretty disappointed at this point because now it's really happening. He had put on his bathing suit, so he's ready. And he walks over to Kyle and his other two cabin mates, and the whole time he's kind of hoping that a camp counselor or one of the directors will see him and will question them and stop them from doing what they're about to do. And so he's kind of taking his time, looking over his shoulder, trying to be extra suspicious as he walks across this field. Like, look at me, I'm doing something bad. I hope no one catches me. And he makes it to the tree line and no one catches him. And Kyle hands him his pool noodle. And then Kyle and the other two cabin mates turn and start kind of walking/running into the woods, and Mark follows after them. And as they're running, Kyle turns around and tells Mark that their cabin mates didn't want to be left out, and that's why they're here. And Mark had a sinking feeling that probably they had the same reaction that he did, which is, if I don't do this with him, he's going to rub this in my face for the whole summer, and I'm living with him. And I'd rather just swim to this horrible dock than put up with that for the whole summer.
Man,
so they finally make it to the swimming area,
my
and
God.
they have the main dock that juts out into the water, and then there's the closer floating dock.
No
and then
counselor saw.
over there is the faraway dock. And as soon as they get onto the beach, they're kind of exposed. And the main camp, if they were down at the water's edge, they could look and see them if they were looking in that direction. And so the boys immediately get into the water and they put themselves up against the main dock, kind of obscuring them from view from anybody that's over at the main side.
Smart.
Of the camp. And they begin swimming out to the faraway dock. The swim out was super easy. It's beautiful outside. It's sunny.
Lisa,
the water feels great.
what's good?
They had their pool noodles to rest on, so not much energy to actually do the swim itself.
Pool
And they were taking their
noodles.
time because they had at least about an hour and a half to 2 hours before they'd need to be back at camp before someone recognized they were gone. And so they get about 3/4 of the way out to the faraway dock, and it's the first time they can see it more or less up close.
Febreze small spaces. Press firm.
You know,
and watch
girl?
it get to work.
You know? Yo, True Red, if there's actually a problem, like a financial problem or something, first of all, I don't even recognize you. But anyways, if there's like a financial problem or something, and that actually happened, and you need like whatever, DM me. But if it's because you just came in chat and spammed telling me to do something and got hidden, you're
Before this,
also.
none of them had been to the faraway dock and had never been close to the faraway dock. So this is the first time they're really getting a good look at it. And the dock is pretty unremarkable. It looks a little bit more beat up than the other dock. The wood is
Wait, they got there? They got there.
Never up close. Because before this, none of them had been to the faraway dock and had never been close to the faraway dock. So this is the first time they're really getting a good look at it. And the dock is pretty unremarkable.
Wow, that's you,
It
King
looks a little
Caleb?
bit
That's
more
how you were
beat up
moving when
than
you
the
came
other
in
dock.
here?
The wood is more gray.
Damn.
And it looks like there's probably a good amount of splinters on there, but it definitely does not look like it's so rotten that if they climb on it, it's going to collapse under their weight, which makes them happy because now they know they can actually get on it and take a break from swimming for a second. But they were kind of let down. They're nearing this thing that's become almost like folklore within their camp, and
wow.
it's just kind of a huge letdown. It looks like any other dock. They finally made their way right up to the ladder, which was fairly rusted over. And Mark was actually the first one to be in front of the ladder, and he was about to grab it and step onto it when he stops. And the other three are right behind him, and they're like, what? And he goes, look at that. And on the ladder is this thick-bodied, wide, fat spider with long legs that's just perched on the rung of the ladder. And so the boys all see the spider, and they're like, okay, number one, I'm not touching that ladder. I'm gonna be climbing up somewhere else. I'll figure out a way to get on this dock that does not involve this ladder. And two, how did the spider get out here. It's huge. What is it doing out here? Like, where did it come from? There's no land around us.
Oh yeah, they're in the water.
You know whatever. There's one random spider on this dock. It can't be a big deal. And so they make their way over to the side, so away from the ladder. And Mark actually grabs onto the edge of the dock, the wood, and manages to pull himself up, and they push him up as he gets up there. And Mark turns around and he hoists up Kyle, and they end up hoisting up the next two. And before long, you have all four on the dock, and they're looking at each other and they're feeling pretty good about it. Even though it was a letdown that there's not much going on out here besides maybe that weird spider, but it'll make for a great story. And they couldn't wait to get back and tell their friends that they had
I definitely remember your King Caleb.
So they weren't
I definitely
ready to
remember.
just jump right back in the water and go right back to shore. So they laid down on the wooden slats of the dock itself, and they just enjoyed laying in the sun. And as Mark's laying there, he hears a very distinctive scratching sound or rustling sound that's coming from right underneath the floorboards that he's laying on. And the dock itself was resting on these big blue barrels to stay afloat. And so Mark's laying there thinking maybe the barrel is rotating underneath the wood and it's causing a weird sound, or maybe there's some residual waves from us moving around and displacing the water that's, lapping up against the side of the barrels. But Mark at the time was not really overanalyzing this. This is just his initial thoughts of what the sound could be. He's not remotely concerned about what the sound is. He just took stock of it. And at some point, Mark and the other guys stand up because they're kind of bored of just laying there, and they start goofing around and pushing each other and trying to see if they can push each other off of the dock. And then they start playing one of their favorite games that they play on the other floating dock, where they all kind of shimmy to one corner of the dock and try to get that side to begin to submerge without falling off. So the boys shuffle to the corner of the dock, and they're all kind of jokingly jockeying for position, because they're going to flood this side and they don't want to fall off. And so they get in position and the dock starts to sink. And so after about a third of the dock was now underwater, they start hearing a scratching sound like the one Mark had heard when he was laying on his back. And all of a sudden, hundreds of those huge, thick-bodied, long-legged spiders start coming out from underneath the dock through the breaks in the wood. They're pouring out frantically, trying to climb out from underneath the dock because the boys have just flooded their nest. And so hundreds of these things are pouring out from underneath and sliding down towards the boys because it's on an angle. And Kyle, in a panic, loses his footing and falls face first onto the dock. But because his weight shifted so quickly, the dock went down flat again, and now Kyle's laying on the dock as these spiders are swarming his body, getting in his hair, and Mark and the other two are still on the dock, and they can feel the spiders at their feet, and they jump into the water. And Mark, as soon as he hits the water, he sees there's hundreds of spiders in the water. They're all over the place, and that's when he feels one in his hair, and he's trying to swat it off of his head, and he dives underwater thinking that's going to get rid of it, but no, he feels it grip down tight on his hair, and he had to reach up and actually grab the body of the spider and pull it off of his hair. He swims up, and there's more spiders around him. He frantically starts swimming away, and he hears Kyle screaming, and he sees him jump into the water, still trying to pull spiders off of his body, and then the boys would swim as fast as humanly possible to shore, the whole time either literally pulling spiders out of their hair that were clinging to their hair or their ears, or believing, because they just had this horrible experience, that there are more spiders on them. And so the whole time, they're pulling spiders off, even if they aren't there. Like Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights, he thinks he's on fire when he's not. That's the situation they're in, but with spiders. They finally get to shore, and they're looking each other over to make sure there's no more spiders on them, in their shorts, on their back, in their hair, in their ears. And finally, all the spiders are gone and they're safe again. Mark said he'll never get over the trauma of this horrifying event. And he says what really gets to him is when he thinks about when he was laying on his back on the dock and the other three were doing the same thing, and he heard that rustling, that scratching sound. That was the sound of hundreds of these massive spiders that were literally inches away from them, perched underneath the dock. And not just any spider, but the dock spider. And they're named that because they make their home in docks, because they typically hunt for fish, small fish, insects as well, and they have the ability to run on water. They have this waxy substance on their legs that keeps them from sinking, and they can even jump on water and then land again on water to avoid being eaten by fish. And they can go underwater for up to 30 minutes. They can effectively scuba dive because they trap air on their hairy arms and underneath their bellies, and they breathe that while they're underwater. And so these spiders identified the faraway dock as a great spot to live, and they must have ran out on the water to this dock and then made a home underneath, and then no one's disturbing them, so they flourished. Later on, Mark would find out from one of the camp counselors that the real reason the faraway dock was off limits, the reason that they didn't want anyone going out there, is because they discovered the faraway dock was a breeding ground for these dock spiders. And they tried to get rid of them, but they kept coming back. And so after a number of failed attempts, they finally just gave the faraway dock to the dock spiders. And the reason they don't tell the campers about it is because they don't want to scare them. And so that's that. I hope you enjoyed today's story.
Bruh. Here's my thing. Any bug that like you can't blow or flick off is a big problem for me. If you have to hold it and pull it and it's still not coming, that's like, that would probably bother my mental for days and days and days to come. I would feel that physically for weeks later. I would feel it. I would still feel the feeling of legs in my hair attaching to my hair. I would absolutely still feel that months later. And you have to touch it with your hands, like touch it with your hands, a spider, and throw it off. Multiple, by the way, not one, hundreds. Oh my gosh. Kyle did them dirty. Facts. That was all Kyle. Take that in. I wonder if they whooped his ass after. Physical reaction, that's what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. My goodness. I'm gonna save this other one for now. I'm gonna save it. Where were we? Part 3. Okay, I'm gonna remember that. We did part 2, so part 3. Izov, ew. Like I can't even imagine. I can't imagine. Picking up. No. But yo, stream, thank you guys so much for the love tonight. That was amazing. That was an amazing stream. Jump, Kyle, whoop him. And then snitch on him too. Snitch on him. Absolutely snitch. Whoop it, jump him first, then snitch. Cause bro, that's like taking what happened too. They were playing around, trying to monkey it, and one of them fell face first onto all the spiders on the dock. Like, that's just a lot of commotion. That's just a lot, bro. That's just a lot that didn't need to happen. Kyle, if my son ever meets someone named Kyle, I don't even know what I'll do. I don't know what I'll do. I'll say, you know what, Miles, I'm sorry, buddy. You can't hang out with Kyle anymore. I don't care if he's no, I don't need to know anything about him. Just any Kyle is off limits. Any and every Kyle is off limits. I'm gonna tell Miles as soon as he understands English. I'm dead serious. Every Kyle. Don't you ever talk to me about, can I go to Kyle's house? Don't you dare go out meeting any Kyles. No Kyles. And I swear I would have said that before this. 100%. Kyle has always been a shit starter. Kyle as a name, anybody named Kyle, they're a shit disturber. For sure. You can't be named Kyle and not start shit. That's crazy. Stream, that was great though. That was a great stream. Nice 3-hour stream, all reaction. That's crazy. 3-hour banger. Appreciate everyone who dropped donos tonight. Thank you guys so much for supporting the stream, supporting the dream. I love that. Thank you guys. You guys are the best for that. Kyle's watching. Oh, like any Kyle watching the stream? Nah, I don't think we have any Kyles. I don't think we do. If we have any Kyles in the stream, show yourself, and I will personally tell you to get out of the stream because they will. No, I'm kidding. I'll personally apologize. But yeah, nah, man, nah. But anyone named Kyle, I'm sure they know that about themselves. Like, I'm kind of crazy. Nah, yeah, I'm kind of crazy, you know. Yo, the dudes with the suits, yeah, that was, yo, take it and made me turn it off. I'm not watching that. I am not. No. Imagine. That was too much. The suits, because dash cam is like, it's too real. Like, if this guy was telling me that story, that's one thing. But like the dash cam footage, I feel like I am driving. Like I don't want, that's too much, man. Thanks for the stream and the sleep paralysis, Deej. Yo, the way they all, yeah, yo, stop talking about it. 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 Great stream, yo. Thanks, thank you, thanks, yo. You. The two guys were, yeah. Well, the two guys weren't fine either, and the way they were running back in and shit. I can't, man. I don't even want to think about it. But yeah, man. Yeah, I'll queue some more up for another stream. Not the very next stream. I want to space out these kind of streams, but man, I love these. I want to find more that I haven't seen though. Like I said, and also I need to start saving this guy's videos up again. Like I'm just at the edge. Like I'm at the end. Like look, I watch every single one, and now I'm at where when he drops it, I just watch it immediately. Like I need to save some up and then watch them on stream, because it's fine watching the ones that I've seen because I'm good at just pretending like I haven't seen it. And sometimes they are so old, like I saw it so long ago, and because I watch them so many at the same time, like they're a jumble, and sometimes they go in and out of my head. So, you know, sometimes no notary whatsoever. Yeah, that's it, bro. I'm telling you, YouTube, like they could easily make anyone pop. Like there are people that want to be in the stream. You could just show them the notification and they'll come into the stream. We could have like 100 people here. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. The YouTube's on that, but it's all good. It's all good. We had a nice thicky stream. We had like 30 something people in here. It was good. It was good. We were vibing out. But I'm cheesed that you missed the stream. Like you would have vibed out tonight, bro. I'm cheesed. I'm not cheesed you missed it. I'm cheesed you missed it only because of noties. Like that's just, you know, come on, YouTube. Different, like, sorry, am I gonna try like reacting to different ones? Is that what you mean? For sure. Yeah, for sure. I'll gather up some different ones, some different channels and stuff. But yo, 3-hour stream, baby. Might as well run that clock 15 seconds. Yeah. True. You could just rewind it. Yeah, I know. Talk along. I know it's the worst. The animated stories, I love those. I watch those on this channel, Infographics, and also this show, or this one. This one's good. This one's like his channel. It's like stories, but it's all animated, which is, it's just a vibe, and it's a nice the person telling the story, good voice. It's not too creepy, like, ooh, in a time back. I hate the creepy ones when you're trying to have a creepy voice. Those are annoying. These ones are good. Like, look at these, and great thumbnails, great stories. See, I've seen some of them. This one, I've seen a lot of these actually. They just post a lot. Like, take in, this is all 2 days from here to here. They post a lot. But there's this one. There's also this other one that's good. It's like he does only like, I think, Japanese stories. No, not like, I think just Asian stories in general. What's it? Kento Bento? Yeah. This is another good one. Good channel. Oh, I'm not actually subscribed to him, but I've seen a bear of his channel, his videos. These ones are really good because they're friggin' animated so well, which is like so expensive. Like, who is it? Like that shit's expensive. Anyway. Oh yeah, this was crazy. Hijacking of Japan airline flights. But yeah, prison breaks, art heists, stuff like that. But yeah, this is also a good channel. I like the animated ones. Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, stream. Thank you guys. Thank you guys again. Thank you guys so much, man. It's a big vibe. I really appreciate you guys coming through, hanging out. And like I said, I always really appreciate those first few people that pull up. So if you have noties on and you come right away to the stream, you're one of my favorite people. Thank you so much. Gonna go watch something funny now? Yep. Me too. I might watch Herlin's streaming. Might watch a stream or something. Yeah, I need a little bit of something before I go to bed. Like, this is not okay. But who am I kidding? Like, this is what I watch right before bed. I don't know why I'm trying to relate to you right now. Like, I literally watch this. I'll fall asleep watching this kind of shit. So I'm pretty zooked, actually. Like, I'll probably watch more of this and then go to sleep. it's fun to vibe with y'all. I hope you had fun. 24/5. Come more often, you know, hang out with us. You have to watch these videos. But yeah, maybe we'll watch some animated ones next time. For sure. If I fall asleep after I'm having nightmares 100%, wow. Well, I haven't had a dream in like years, so I have like 2 dreams a year. I like don't. Well, apparently everyone has dreams, but I don't remember them at all. Not even like a little bit piece. I just wake up. I just open my eyes. There's nothing. Like it's pretty crazy. Like nothing. Like no like. Oh, I kind of remember it. Oh, there it went away. No, like I open my eyes and it's a new day. That's it. I don't remember anything. I don't have any dreams ever. That'll do that to you. But I like it that way. I'm fine. I like it like that because honestly, times where I remembered my dreams, like I don't like my dreams. Like I don't know, they're kind of old. They're either like if they are good, they end before it's about to be really good or something, and it's like just annoying, which I wake up annoyed anyways. But mostly they're just normal, like just outside, and it's just like my view of outside, and it's like someone just like got on a bus, someone that I know from like back in I just saw them like get on a bus, and then it's just like regular boring shit. And then like, or it's like, I don't know. I don't remember having too many, or actually they're scary too. Like not scary, but like scary. Like I'm worried. Oh man, actually, yeah, I've had actually a lot of annoying ass dreams of like, it's just like so long and I'm like people are after me and shit. Like trying to body me, kill me and stuff. Like it's the worst, but not in a scary way, just like a real life way, like real life, like it's just regular people. It's too realistic. I don't like those dreams, man. Too realistic. Just real people like goons or something. Like sometimes it's goons. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. Like I've just had people after me in my dreams and like, they're actually after me, and it's just like regular life. I'm in doing regular things and I have to like get away from them and shit. And it's like, yo, that's scary, bro. Like it's not scary. It's just like, it's tense. Like I'm tense the whole time and I wake up tense. And sometimes I fall back asleep and I fall back into it. And it's like, bro, I don't like those. That's all. You'll be interrupted. Oh, maybe. Actually, yeah, you're probably right. Never have nightmares. Yeah. Someone turned into bruh. Yeah, those are the worst. Good things have happened and then I wake up. Yeah, I hate those. Those are so whack. When something good is happening and you wake up right before it gets really good. Like those are so irritating. It's like, bro, stop. Why are you doing that? All right, stream. Once again, thank you. I've said thank you 8,000 times, but I just really appreciate the support, y'all. Thank you. All right, so stream. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Main channel, I want to explain on one too just before I go. I had planned to come out with my first video in a very long time, in like a year, this Thursday. Today's Sunday. It was going to be this Thursday because this weekend that we're in right now, I was supposed to film the video that's going to come out on that Thursday. I have 2 videos already filmed, partially edited and everything, but neither of them are the videos that I wanted to be my first video back. The video that I was going to film this weekend was going to be that video, but no one was available. Like literally I called on like side players and like people were not available. And like I've been trying to do a thing where it's like I'm very specific. I'm like handpicking this like certain people for certain videos. I'm very specific and I think about it so far in advance. But anyways, didn't work out. So I'm gonna try again to gather everybody up next weekend. So in 7 days, 6 days, hopefully on like Saturday, and then the Thursday after that one, that video will come out, and by that time I'll have even more because already I have 2 videos, but by that time in another week I'll film that video, and I'll film 2 videos that weekend and another 1 video during the week maybe. So I'll most likely have 4 videos by that time ready, Might have even more than 4. We'll see. Pancake art? Nah, that's not a thing. We go in trivia mode. We're going all the way in. 100% trivia. All different kinds. But yeah, trivia videos like the Guess That Beat, all that kind of stuff. But anyways. Oh, not all just trivia, like other kinds of, but like all music related like type of videos. All music related type of videos. Not all trivia, but sorry. But yeah, man. Should play Jackbox like with stream. As soon as I realize it's a dream, worst. Time is very weird in dreams. Yeah, the ones where you're being chased are the worst, man. Like it's so the worst. Bangers coming soon, absolutely. I'm very excited. I'm very excited because they're so fun. Like I'm like literally editing them and laughing, like so good. I just have to edit like crazy because they have like I really want the editing to be top notch. So these videos that I have right now, I have like over a week to make them as good as they can be. The one that's gonna come out though on next Thursday, like I'm only gonna have like 3 days to edit that one because I'm gonna film it on the weekend and then it's gonna come out like on the Thursday. So it's like I don't have very much time to film that one, but I mean to edit that one, but that's fine. The other ones after, anyways. I'm rambling, but again, appreciate y'all. It is 1:40 for me, so I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you guys. On your way out, if you haven't clicked the like button yet, please do so. I know we would have hit 100 likes today if I was. I think I said it like click the like button like 3 times, like randomly, but we were just watching videos. I didn't want to like say that a bunch of times while we're, you know, just upset the vibe, but I know we would have hit that 100 likes. No problem today. We had well enough people here. We had a steady like 25, 30. So I know we would have done it, but so I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. Regardless, for the 67 that clicked the like button without me saying it, like, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, yo, 68 actually now. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Not sure when it's going to be. I'm trying not to make them too far apart, but at the same time, I'm not going back to back because I honestly feel like the algorithm does not like it. It's so weird, man. Anyways, yeah. So I'll be back within the next 2-3 days at least. All right. Yeah, man. All right. GG's, y'all. Have a great night. You guys are the best. W stream, thank you. Jalen, thank you. Oh, with elbow. Oh, that could be, yeah, maybe. Actually, no, because it's not music stuff. But thank you guys so much. Michael, Ramon, Stasia, Jalen, Rachel. You guys are awesome. Sriracha God, the best. You guys are the best. JP, fuck these niggas up. All right, you guys are awesome. JD also, thank you so much for all the love tonight. All right, and everyone who dropped donos and everything, you guys are the best. Thank you for supporting the stream. Everyone who clicked the like button, thank you for supporting the stream. Everyone who was in the chat lurking and not talking, thank you for supporting the stream. Literally, you being a number in the stream helps. And everyone else, if you were here, you did something. Thank you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next stream, all right? Have a good night, and turn on all your lights in your house if you're scared. Turn on all the lights in the house. Turn them off as you move throughout the house. Maybe turn on your flashlight of your phone as you're walking. I don't know what to. I'm sorry. If I left you on a scared note, I am so sorry. You watch something hilarious. Go watch like some comfort shows. You know those ones? Watch some comfort shows. Go watch The Office. Go watch something funny and fall asleep to that. Cause yeah. But yeah, anyways, guys, we out. Peace.